Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you?
Great. Won a game last night.
That we did, and it came on some bad news, though, for Islanders Nation, that is for certain. Mike Bossy there with lung cancer. Oh, tough, Grumpy.
Yeah, and I know he smoked for a long time. Just terrible news. And he's young. He's young.
Yeah.
So terrible news.
That for certain is. Again, you talk about the impact he's had on, the fans, impact on people's lives. It's been significant. That's for certain, grumpy old man.
Yeah, he's had to take a step back from his job. So we wish him well, and hopefully he can beat this.
Absolutely, grumpy old man. Absolutely. And also, on the other hand, good news though for the Islanders last night, a victory against the Chicago Blackhawks, and in a situation to where Ilya Sorokin had to stand on his head to keep the Islanders in the game and in the action. People were calling out, "Hey, when's Sorokin going to look like an elite goaltender?" Well, we saw some of it last night. There, he made a lot of those crucial saves that really kept it a 0-0 game for quite some time last night.
Yeah, we were still kind of weak in our own zone yesterday. I know we outshot 18-8 in the first period, and I can't tell you how many shots that Chicago fanned on last night. DeBrincat, he must have missed the puck 4 or 5 times on point blank chances. It was a tough night for them. Honestly, they're not a good team, but like I say, at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters, we got the 2 points, right? So that's all we could hope for. We're going to have to increase our play, but at least we're playing, we have Columbus tomorrow night, who's actually playing pretty well so far, and then Arizona on Saturday. Maybe we can get a little bit of momentum going, right the ship, and start in the right direction.
And that also being said, before we jump too much in today's podcast, remember, the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action, because we go live every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every single Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That being said, if there is an Islanders game the day of a Wednesday or a Saturday, we will be going live right after the game. So, for example, this Saturday, we're going to be going live after the Arizona Coyotes game.
Yes, true. Excited about that. That should be a win. That should be fun. Maybe Andrew Ladd will play. Think about all the fun stuff we can talk about him.
That's going to be a late one, ladies and gentlemen. I just looking at the time, right? That starts 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Oh, that's going to be a late one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I don't know if we just want to get into the game from last night or what we want to do. I know that's a ham-handed segue, but I'm going to let you steer, TJ. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the game, and we've already got Ariel C commenting. You guys love Bellows, but he really was not that good last night.
He was not.
Want to talk about Kiefer Bellows. I did not. I don't think he looked great last night either, and it's unfortunate because this is a guy that we'd like to see kind of take the next step. And right after the first period, the first period we were pretty much hemmed in our zone for the majority of that, and this is a guy who's not a regular starter. He gets switched around there as well to start the second period. So, it's tough to develop any type of chemistry. That being said, but he did not look great last night. Skating wasn't there. I'll be honest with you, he looked kind of lost at times last night. That's not something you like to see.
He did, particularly on the play where it was a 2-on-2, but Chara was the other guy. So it was like a 2-on-1. And he leaves his man to go after I don't even remember who for the Blackhawks was, but the guy makes a pass across for, an easy shot on goal, and Sorokin makes a great save. I don't know why he was doing that, but Chara was just backing up. I don't know what the thought process was where he's going, okay, Chara can't take this guy. He just left his man. That was a terrible play, and his skating was off last night. It didn't look as bad when they finally demoted him to the second line because Bailey and Nelson can't skate either, so it wasn't as noticeable. But I thought he had a very poor game last night. I know it was a late minute scratch of Anders Lee that got him the starting nod, and he did not take advantage of his opportunity, unfortunately.
You hate to see that too, right? A guy who, again, all he wants to do is make himself, earn himself a spot, forge himself somewhere into the Islanders lineup. Again, I know there's no spots available when everybody's healthy. That being said, he wants to earn himself some minutes. He wants to earn himself where if coach sees that, hey, Zach Parise stays on a little bit of a cold spell, you know what? The little bit that we saw of Kiefer Bellows, he left a good taste in our mouth. We need to go ahead and look at him and give him another chance. He wanted to go ahead and make that type of impact. And last night was anything but that. And again, you're going to hear it from us first, right? We've championed Kiefer Bellows an awful lot. Last night was underwhelming, and I'm sure he knows it was underwhelming. It was underwhelming, and that's coming from two guys who want him to succeed.
That's the difference between us and the Islanders media cartel. We speak the truth, good, bad, or ugly. If
Whether we're right, wrong with what we've said in the past, we're going to come up right at the top and tell you we did not like the way he played. We're not going to say, oh, well, Kiefer Bellows had a hangnail on his foot. In reality, he was playing with opposite stick. We're not going to be making excuses for guys trying to defend and entrench ourselves in our points. If we're wrong, we'll mention it.
Right. And he had a bad night last night, no doubt about it. I'm not making excuses for it because guess what? We're not in the excuse-making business here.
Yes.
Other sites can make excuses for people's poor play or their ineptitude. Not here. No free passes here.
Want to talk about something else too, Grumpy, that you might like. Hey, Oliver Wahlstrom better watch out. He's going to earn himself a spot right there to Bridgeport. Do you remember all that talk at the beginning of the year? Oh, we better see more out of Oliver Wahlstrom. Hey, did you see that Barry Trotz came out there and said he wanted more from Oliver Wahlstrom? Hey, guys, Oliver Wahlstrom might be earning himself a one-way ticket down there to Bridgeport. He better watch out. Comes out of the gates. Again, he had a good night last night, and, he's got 3 goals so far in 3 games. And I love how they changed the narrative. Certain sites, they change the narrative. No longer is it, he better watch out. It's Barry Trotz. He's such a genius. He came out there and said, Oliver Wahlstrom, we want more. And just like that, the flick of a finger, he automatically turns it on. He's playing 5D chess and we're all playing checkers.
Yeah. Oliver Wahlstrom was the skater of the game. I gave Sorokin first star.
As you should have. He was fantastic. And it's unfortunate we couldn't give him the shutout.
He kept us in the game in the first period and a half. Then Wahlstrom taking on 3 Blackhawks behind Chicago's net, winds up freeing the puck up for Beauvillier to pot the first goal. And you could all of a sudden, here's the thing I wonder about Chicago, right? I don't know how strong mentally they are. That kind of took a lot of starch out of them. And then when Wahlstrom scored his first goal of the game in the third period, that was it. Game was over. They fell apart. I wonder how long Jeremy Colleton has as head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks because he's been there 4 years and they look terrible so far this season.
I have to figure he's got to be one of those guys that are on a hot seat, right? He has looked terrible. You look at their roster, they should be more competitive than they are. You look at the cast and characters on the team, they should be more competitive than they are. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think he's got a long expiration date. That's for certain.
Yeah, from our perspective, that's about as much as I'm going to say about them. They couldn't handle the puck. They kept on turning the puck over. That's like, for us, hey, that's what we need, right? Guys turning the puck over in the neutral zone, in the offensive zone, in the defensive zone. It's like they forgot how to stick handle yesterday, and that was to our benefit without a doubt. We overcame some jitters to start the game because they came out and were flying. And we still look like we were shaky. That whole first period, Sorokin saved us in the first period. Like I said, they fanned on so many shots. But, to our credit, we hung in there. We took advantage. And then we kind of took over in the third period. Like I said, after that Wahlstrom goal, I even wrote down in my notes, game over. Right then, game was over.
Want to show you this, too. You talk about the effort on this goal, Grumpy. I want to go ahead and lower this line.
There's our hero, Seth Jones. I don't know. First of all, he throws a puck into the guy's skates, first of all. And then, and then so it's like terrible, but here it is, Wahlstrom. What a shot. What a shot.
Over there. Geez, you're right. I mean, like this is, again, 5-hole. I'll be honest. Oliver Wahlstrom likes to pick 5-hole. He does. And he's usually pretty successful with it too. Again, always great to see, one of your young guys who are, on the cusp of I'm ready to take the next step, getting off to a hot start. We've always talked about him when he's hot. He's another one of those guys who I think he has the streaky type of trend to him, which isn't always necessarily good. But it's good to start off the season hot, that's for certain. And look at this, Fleury kind of thinks to himself, "Oh shit, that's what I want back."
Well, here's the thing. His release is so quick. I think he catches Fleury off guard. I don't think he was expected the shot to come that quick, and it kind of burned him, right?
That
But
also being said, when you've got a great shooter, you know he can pick a top corner as well. So I mean, you're still a little bit more guarded up top, and when he hits you down low, you're kind of like, oh crap, that's not what I was expecting.
yeah, I'm just, it's funny. I watched Seth Jones last night, and I said to myself, man, I just don't think Seth Jones is all that, and
Bag of chips.
the price of haircut. I mean, he's just not. So to think they're paying him $9.5 million a year, what a mistake. I mean, what a mistake. I just don't think he's that good a defenseman. And it just once again highlights the fantastic deals that we signed Pellick and Pulak to, honestly.
I was about to say, what a mistake and what a fantastic job by Lou Lamoriello on the deals he signed with Adam Pellick and Ryan Pulak for certain. Again, you guys who have listened to the show for years, you know that we've been critical of Lou Lamoriello. And again, we have told you after that signing of Ryan Pulak, I'm telling you what I think happened, right? He had to overpay for some of those, some of those guys originally to develop and to bring our team into that cup contender status. He still makes moves that, leave me scratching my head, but now we're starting to see more buy-in and more of players taking hometown discounts. And Grump, I cannot remember there ever being a time in Islanders history in the free agency time period to where players wanted to openly take hometown discounts, top tier players too. It's not like we're talking about, it's not like we're talking about, can't even think of a player who took a hometown discount. It's not like we're talking, I was going to say Josh Bailey, Grump, but I don't want to set you off.
Please don't.
That's not like if John Sims signed back, we're talking about him taking a hometown discount or anything like that. These are guys who are top tier players, especially at the defensive position, top line defensemen who've taken really, really sweetheart deals for us.
Yeah. Okay, they're not going to be offensive contributors, and that should keep their number down. But for the system that we play under Barry Trotz and the style, those are good deals without a doubt. So, kudos to Lamoriello and both players because it takes two to tango, right? And those are two great deals. Have those guys locked up. Matt Barzell's the next piece. Really have to focus on him. But the turnover woes continued last night by our defensemen. I mean, Mayfield had a terrible turnover. Chara had 2 or 3 terrible turnovers. Dobson had a terrible turnover. One of them led to that breakaway that Sorokin stopped. We need to be more buttoned up on the back end. I mean, we really do. I still think we're skating around a little lost back there, particularly early in the game. Once we got up 2-0, then 3-0, Chicago folded 10. So I'm just talking about early in the game. But then we kind of righted the ship. When we went up 1-0, Chicago's probably like, oh, here we go again.
Well, think about it. Chicago, I think, is one of those teams where if you don't have here's the thing, right? We talk about, players win games. That a good coach can keep a team from becoming mentally fatigued after they come out and they look, I'm going to use air quotes, dominant in a first period. And, they don't have anything to show for it. And, they go down 1-0. You think, oh man, we've controlled all the action in this game. And you go into the locker room, you think to yourself, oh crap, we're entering the third period. We're down 1-0. And we feel like we've been more than competitive all night. And again, a really, really well-coached team, just like the Islanders, doesn't matter what situation we're in. Again, kudos to Barry Trotz on that. We're able to bounce back usually, even if we've been outplayed or outplaying a team and we're currently down. We don't ever fall asleep, or very rarely do we.
And the whole thing is, you have to be mentally strong. And I just don't think Chicago is like that. And that's some of the risk of playing a whole bunch of young guys is, what? They're not quite there yet, handling the mental aspects of the game. And that's certainly not the case with us. We know what is expected. We know what we have to do. It's the physical things that hurt us as opposed to the mental. But like I said, I'm still a little bit concerned. If Chicago was a better team, we would have lost last night. But you know what? The schedule is what it is. I'm glad that we're playing some weaker teams at the beginning of the year on this road trip. So maybe we get our feet under us a little bit, get our legs back, and get some W's and maybe straighten out our game defensively before we play some of the tougher teams.
That also being said, we've talked about it. These, I mean, obviously including Chicago, and as well as the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Arizona Coyotes. They're three you would like to imagine very winnable games. And going into, you got you got the back-to-back there Saturday, and then Sunday you play the Vegas Golden Knights. So, we always talked about it, right? If you're looking at that 4-game stretch, coming away with 2 wins, 1 loss in regulation, and 1 overtime loss, I look at that as a victory over that 4-game stretch, Grumpy.
Yeah, I wasn't even counting Vegas. I was just going through Saturday night, which was Chicago, Columbus, and Arizona. And I'm saying 5 points is good out of that. 2 down, at least 3 to go.
Oh, grumpy old man. Got a comment there from Frank Hay saying, so now that Wallstrom is scoring, when do we get to send when does he get sent to Bridgeport for the great Leo Komarov, Grumpy?
Yeah, I just they put Komarov on waivers. No one picked him up. Shocker, I'm sure. Everyone's shocked at that. But you just read some of these sites and it's like, well, he needed that game. I'm like, what do you mean he needed that game? All right, he wasn't good in the preseason. Who cares? I mean, he said, well, he needed to do this to stay in the lineup. Let me ask you a question. What has Josh Bailey done since the season started? He's been his typical zero self, right? I mean, when is the coaching staff going to say, you know what, Josh, you cannot do the job. We need to send you down or sit you for a while. Never. I mean, the same cast of characters, the same. Like I said, you think that they're wearing a Harry Potter invisibility cloak out there the way they play. Seriously.
Let me ask you this, though. Grumpy, we're never going to sit Josh Bailey down. I don't think we have any better option than Josh Bailey. Come on.
I just don't want to hear how we should sit the young guy, the one who can actually produce, as opposed to, but we don't call out any of the vets. See, that's a big issue for me. It always has been. If you want to rip a young player, rip the older players too. They're not immune to making mistakes out there. Stop coddling them. Why do you feel you have to coddle a Josh Bailey? Is because he's so soft, because he's Charmin soft, because he's Carvel vanilla ice cream soft that he can't take any criticism? Because I'll tell you what, he's been a non-entity so far this season.
Well, speaking of Josh Bailey or Josh Bailey Lights, Josh Bailey 2.0, you'll be happy to see that Simon Holmstrom is off to a fiery start. Fuego, grumpy old man. 0 points, 0 goals, 0 assists so far for the first 3 games of Bridgeport. You'll also be happy to know that it's already off to a little bit of a season. Hey, we've got 5 goals in 3 games in Bridgeport. I don't think we've won. Maybe I have to look back on it. I don't think we've won any games. Again, this isn't a Bridgeport Islanders podcast or anything like that. But, I do like to keep tabs on the Islanders, most promising, quote unquote, up and comers. So this is a big year for him. Hopefully he can light it up on a score sheet as the 3 amigos are all playing in the NHL.
I'm going to tell you, I've always said he's like Josh Bailey 2.0. That's what he is. Just a nothing, just a jag. That's all he is. But they're going to do everything they can to get him in the lineup because he's one of lose picks. That's the way they look at it.
Scott L saying, TJ, in the photo you post before the podcast, you really need to have some Islanders item on, like Grumpy in his Islanders jersey. Well, it's funny. When we first did that, we thought it would be fun. It would be kind of like, playing to our characters, right? I'm the old business guy, so I put on, a little shirt and tie, and Grumpy doing this menacing little snarl face with his little Islanders jersey on for being a fan. So I thought it was a cool little bit to it, but maybe we do need a Grumpy. That picture is a little old. It's a little dated. We might have to go ahead and get a little updated there. Maybe you look fine, Grump, but I got to get an updated one. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could just be wearing my collared T-shirt here, my Islanders insignia.
I don't know, but you had a lot more hair in that original picture than you're going to have in the next one.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Rob L, you'd be happy to know, says, now Grumpy's impressed, like we care.
I don't understand what he's saying.
Rob is a troll. He's always upset with the grumpy old man. He's not a grumpy old man fan, Grumpy.
I'm sorry, Rob. He takes a nice picture, though. I mean, let's give the man credit. It's very nice. Got some plaques on the wall there. Good for him. I'm happy for him.
Michael M said, my FU Bailey count was very high last night.
He's fucking, I'm sorry. He's freaking terrible. He's freaking terrible. Excuse my language.
Oh, grumpy.
I absolutely do not like doing that because I don't know who's listening to the podcast. You know, if there's young people listening to podcasts, I don't like to do that. I apologize. But man, Josh Bailey sucks. He's just getting worse by the minute. By the minute.
Our boy Andy Francis happened to post a little image for you, Grumpy. He's showing you here how great of a job Josh Bailey was doing on a power play. I didn't think he registered a shot last night either. So he gets his little opportunity here in the corner, plenty of time.
Soft pass, soft pass.
And it leads to the turnover going the other way and an odd man break or a 2-on-2 situation. Oh, man. I figured you'd like that one, Grumpy.
He was on the power play, and I wrote this down because it totally encompasses my thoughts whenever he's on the power play. 12's refusal to shoot the puck on the power play continues to mystify me. You see all the other teams, they just back up. He could have walked in and taken a shot, and he just won't do it. He was standing in the slot trying to make a pass when he got the puck. Of course, he lost it because, he sucks. But he wasn't even thinking about shooting from 5 foot from the goalie. I don't get it. I don't know how he stays on the power play. I don't know how he's in the NHL. I don't know how he does anything. I wouldn't trust this guy to go get me Starbucks in the morning.
Oh, come on, man. He's a great assist man. He could get you Starbucks, no issues.
Yeah, he'd mess it up somehow.
Well, here's the thing, right? He would just have to be
whipped cream is what it would be.
He would be the Starbucks worker, right? Because he would hand the driver the Starbucks, right? Getting the secondary assist, and then you would receive your goods and services, Grump. So maybe he would be a good Starbucks worker.
No, this is what he would be. He would be the guy who, if it's really, really crowded, he's out there in the street taking street orders and then just handing the slips to someone to enter the order. Then they would enter it, somebody would produce it and give him, and then there would be Josh out there. Like I said, he just writes it down as best he can. He's been terrible. He's been terrible.
Personal. He's very personal. That's what it is, Grumpy.
I hate to pick on him because he's such an easy target, honestly.
He's a great guy, too. I mean, we love him as a guy.
Okay, once again, I'm not talking about anybody as a person because let me tell you something. These guys are great people.
Yeah.
So it pains me, really pains me to rip them for being below average, mediocre hockey players. Okay? Because guess what? They're better than I am. Let's be honest. They're better hockey players than I am. Josh Bailey, maybe not so much.
Are you trying to tell me you can't compete at the level of a professional NHLer at this stage in your career? Holy shit. Newsflash.
Even at the top of my career, I couldn't do it. I just think, I'm not going to delude you. All these people, I love when they say, oh, Grumpy old man, you can't skate like Josh Bailey. Yeah, that's right. I can't skate like Josh Bailey. But you know what? I'm not getting paid $5 million a year either. He's getting paid to play hockey.
I think you could skate at 1/10 the level for $500,000.
Yes.
Matt I saying, what's up, guys? What's up, Matt? Tony Cheese saying, love the show. Mad respect for TJ calling the Letty trade and talking about the hair and taking the hairline jokes. Grump's all right, I guess. I appreciate it, Tony. Hey, we don't sugarcoat anything. If they nice comments, mean comments, doesn't matter. We show them all. Frank K.
Here's the thing. We're not soft. We're not snowflakes on this podcast like others. We're not snowflakes here.
Frank K saying Bossy was a huge part of my youth.
Same here, without a doubt. It was horrible news yesterday. Horrible.
Yeah.
I think he's 64 years old. And I think about that age, I'm like, my gosh, I'm real close to that.
Value every minute. Value every day. That's for certain. D-Cut saying prayers for number 22.
Yes.
What is Deep Cut a part of, Grumpy?
He's part of Islanders Misery, Rated R. They're fantastic fan group. Why are they fantastic? They support TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. They support the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I support them. TJ, not so much, but I do.
Oh, man, I love it. Rich A saying Game 3, Chara should step up and retire once they return home.
In the second and third period, he got inordinate. Oh gosh, how come I can't pronounce that word? He got a bunch of ice time in the second and third periods. And Noah Dobson didn't. Once again, we're trying to limit Noah Dobson's minutes. I don't get it. I just don't get it because Char's a traffic cone out there. It's what he is. I'm sorry.
You'll like to see this one too, Grumpy. Look at this.
Yeah. This is the play where what the hell's Bellows doing? Right through Chara's legs, no problem there. But Bellows had that man. He was marking that guy coming in, and he left him. But look at Chara. Does he even think about confronting the guy at all?
Well, okay, that's not Chara's fault. Bellows, okay, as much as I want Bellows to do good, Bellows can't be. I mean, it's a 2-on-2 situation. What the hell was Bellows doing? And again, I just like how.
But he got
nutmegged. I just figured you'd like seeing that little nutmeg action there.
I mean,
a hell of a stop by Sorokin, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking, hey, when is Sorokin going to steal us a game? This was 100% of a result of Sorokin stealing the game for us.
Yes, but Chara didn't take out his thing. Bellows was horrific on that play. Horrific. I remember I thought it was Bailey for a second. I was hoping it was Bailey because then it just fits my narrative. But it wasn't Bailey because actually at least Kiefer Bellows tried to do something. So I knew it wasn't Josh Bailey. It was wrong, but at least he tried to do something.
It was it was miserable. Let me ask you this. When you see people, and I always wonder this, right? Because we talk about certain players that we like, and this is a guy that we want to do well, we're rooting for, and you see him do something like that. I'm just like, holy shit. I
don't care. I don't care. And people say, you like him. What's he doing wrong? You like him, see? You know what? But I call it like I see it. And there are players that I like, but if they make a mistake, they're not immune to criticism. Like I said, this is not the Snowflake podcast.
Yeah. And I will say Chara played more minutes last night than he did any other game so far. So, I mean, he played 19 minutes and 57 seconds last night against the Chicago Blackhawks.
Isn't that a Barry Trotz move? Isn't that a Barry Trotz move? Dobson turns over one puck that leads to a breakaway, and you're going to get limited ice time the rest of the way. Chara, you can't even move out there. You're like a turnstile. We're going to throw you out every shift.
I do like that, though, right? Because he had that bad turnover. They were on the power play, and it resulted, right? I don't remember who it was who had the breakaway opportunity there for Chicago, but they were gassed. They didn't put any move on, thankfully and luckily for us. They just kind of shot it, and Sorokin came up, made the save he needed to make. But, right, made a bad play trying to keep the puck in, kind of falling all over the place, didn't do a great job. But, Chara can be out there, get walked around like a turnstile, have people walk right around him, and it's like, okay, not a big issue. You're still going to play major minutes. So
not going to hear any criticism.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Dobson, another one of the guys that I trumpet around here. That was a bad play by him. And there's one thing I wish as I'm watching him more, I wish there was just a tad more urgency to his game sometimes. Sometimes I think he's a little bit too analytical, thinking a little bit too much where, hey, just rip it and grip it. Just rip it and grip it, son.
React. I just want to see you react, throw the puck towards the net a little more often. When you score points, Noah Dobson, you notice that a lot of it was from throwing the puck towards the net in some capacity, it bouncing off and it bouncing to an Islander, bouncing off 3 or 4 bodies and coming to a wide open individual. Throw the puck towards the net a little more often. Don't worry about making the perfect passes. Don't worry about trying to set everything so perfectly. Just be a little more aggressive. Shoot the puck.
Yeah. For me, when it comes to Dobson, it's like, I almost wonder if, Barry's in his head a little bit by, I don't want to say that, but I mean, it's a repeating pattern. It seems like he's a little bit tentative sometimes. Like, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to make a mistake because I'm going to get benched. Well, at this point in time, you don't have to worry about that, Noah, because there's no one who can come in and replace you right now because we've decimated our defense group in the last couple of years by Lou Lamoriello's malfeasance and mismanagement of the salary cap. Thank you.
The word of the day, malfeasance.
There you go. I couldn't say inordinate, but I can say malfeasance.
Alexander saying, good evening, guys. Hope you're doing well and great. Prayers for Bossy. Thanks there, Alexander. We're doing well. Definitely prayers there for Mike Bossy.
I think that's the whole Islander community feels that way without a doubt.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely, Grumpy. What a film saying, good evening, guys. How about them Cowboys, Grumpy? LOL. Don't you just love watching Oliver Wahlstrom play?
How'd the Cowboys do against Tampa Bay Buccaneers earlier in the year? Oh, that's right. I remember now.
Oh, look at you, Grumpy. Don't be so salty like a salty attacker.
How many times can you turn the ball over in the red zone and still win a game?
Eddie saying, no doubt Sorokin pulled the rabbit out of his hat last night. Good to see him show up, show us all what he's made of again.
What did I notice about Sorokin last night? I don't know if he was challenging shooters again last night. There was a couple where he was like out of his paint challenging guys. That's when you know he's going well. That's when a goalie's confident. You see, and Varlamov is the same way when they were getting a little bit. And I tell you again, it's because I think he was so shell shocked the first two games with the speed and aggressiveness of Carolina and Florida that, they were kind of creeping back in the net. And yesterday he was much more aggressive and certainly produced a way better performance, without a doubt. And he saved us in the first period, without a doubt. Saved us.
Let me ask you about this, Grumpy old man. How good did that third line look yesterday? How about that third line, Grumpy?
Parise, Pajot and Wallstrom were exceptional. Parise was okay. He's slow. He's slow because Oliver Wallstrom looks like he's playing at a much higher pace out there than Parise is. But that's not to diminish what Parise has done. I think he's been solid. He's just not a difference maker. But you're seeing Wallstrom and Pajot have stepped their games up. Wallstrom in particular has stepped his game up.
Well, here's the thing too, Grumpy. When I'm looking for Zach Parise, I'm not looking for him to put up monster numbers or anything like that. I'm looking to contribute, and sometimes he looks like, we'll see glimpses of what Zach used to be. I mean, here it is, right? We've talked about it before. Kiefer Bellows did not look good last night. Yikes. Didn't take advantage of the opportunity. I'm sure there are going to be games where Zach Parise looks bad, close to that. I'm not sure if he'll look close to as bad as Kiefer Bellows did last night, but you see a little more insight as to why exactly they said, oh, maybe we do need a different left winger. Again, I know you have not been a big fan of Zach Parise when we originally signed him. I said, sure, why not? Add a little more depth. No matter what happens, whether it was Parise or Bellows, I think it's a step up on the third line left wing position. It's better than the Leo Komarovs of past. It's better than the Michael Dokols of past. We have depth. We've talked about the depth on the offensive side of the puck that we hadn't in the past.
You just wonder if the fact that Barry has never shown any trust in Kiefer Bellows is now having a negative effect on the kid, where, he knows he doesn't have a real shot and he wasn't mentally prepared to step in yesterday. And that's on him, honestly. But still, I can understand if you're not given a legit chance to perform, particularly when you're younger, that, what's the deal? I don't know.
I'll be honest with you, right? That bodes for me for an 18, 19, 20-year-old. Kiefer Bellows has been around the block. He's a professional now. Again, he's still younger. He's not a vet. But, having a little bit of mental toughness, having a little bit of mental fortitude is needed and required. So,
okay.
I get it. He didn't perform that well. We'll be interested to see if he plays tomorrow night. I don't know what type of illness Anders Lee had. Maybe he had the runs. We have no earthly idea. We just know it wasn't COVID related. Maybe he was throwing up. Maybe he had a little stomach bug. I have no idea. Might keep him out there tomorrow. You know what? If it does, we need to see a 180 difference for Kiefer Bellows out there on the ice.
Maybe he pooped his pants. I don't know.
Oh man!
But Bellows did. I'm just saying, when you're never given a shot, a legitimate chance, year after year after year, it has to wear on you at some point in time. Just has to. Mentally, just has to.
Well, Grumpy, it's almost like you're wanting me to bring up another member that has been off to, again, albeit at the AHL level, but has been off to a pretty decent start. I mean, you look at Josh Hosang, right? One game so far for the Toronto Marlies, played one game, 2 goals. So, I mean, you talk about a guy who hopefully he revitalizes his career there in Toronto.
I am rooting for him. I really am. It's a shame that, Bellows and probably Wild are going to be Hosanged as well here on the island. But I root for all the guys, honestly. Even Josh Bailey. I mean, who would I have to get angry with if Josh Bailey wasn't on this team?
I don't know, bro. Who would you get angry at?
I don't know. Believe me, there's plenty of whipping boys on this team. Croc has been miserable this year. He had a good game against who was it? He played one game that was pretty good, but other than that, he's been invisible also. Just invisible. And Bavillier didn't miss a beat playing with Barzell and Palmieri. And I'm going to give Palmieri some props. He's fit in very well with Matt Barzell. The F- has performed admirably with Matt Barzell. I
told you. I thought he fit the style that the Islanders play more than Jordan Eberle did. Albeit Jordan Eberle might be more offensively talented. I think a style fit, though, was probably more up Kyle Palmieri's alley than it was for Jordan Eberle.
If I was Barry Trotz, I'd drop Anders Lee onto that second line with Bailey and Nelson. They've always had chemistry. Always. And maybe you'd make Josh Bailey look faster.
Is that the real reason why, Grumpy, you want Josh Bailey to look a little quicker?
Yeah, I certainly do. I'm rooting for my pal Josh. I want to see him be a success.
Oh man, that's a Grumpy.
He's gonna look pretty lame out there next to Anthony Beauvillier. Well, pretty much any NHLer. But if you put average on that line, that should kind of bring him up a little bit.
I want to show you this shot by Cal Clutterbuck. And this is a crazy thing. Cal Clutterbuck, when he gets these opportunities, they're almost all, I feel like all of his goals are very similar. They're coming, as he's skating into an opportunity and chance when the defense kind of gives him a little bit of room. You always forget Cal Clutterbuck can really pick a corner or two. And it makes you think if he did that more consistently, you were looking at a guy who could be.
Nice job, Gustafsson.
Boom. I mean, he picked that corner, right? Are we going to say that that's a weak goal by Marc-Andre Fleury for letting in? No, it's an excellent shot.
Yes, and Cal Clutterbuck was my third star last night. I thought he played extremely well. I was thinking about Marc-Andre Fleury. It looks like his head was down after that fourth goal, and I'll bet you he was thinking to himself,
I should have retired.
You know what? I should have stayed retired. Like I retired for a week. I should have stayed retired rather than play. He knew what he was doing. I left Vegas for this, and that's exactly what you're seeing. He's got to feel – I mean, he's given up a lot of goals, and I'm going to tell you what, it's not on him. Their defense, they're a shambles. Colton needs to go, honestly.
Well, here's the other thing about when you're giving up goals like that in droves as a goalie. Man, you want to talk about the psyche of a goalie when you're having games where 5 goals, 6 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, and you're giving up goals like that ad nauseum. Oh man, that does mess with the goalie psyche. There's no doubt in my mind. And you feel like nothing can stop the other team from hemorrhaging, your defense from hemorrhaging, good opportunities for your opposing offenses. Nothing is going to drive you more insane as a goalie. I feel like it gets your mindset like, holy crap, no matter what I do, it will never be good enough for this team in order to win. Yeah, absolutely. Michael M saying, Tommy, hope you guys had an awesome night last night at the bar. They had a little meetup, grumpy old man. The man with the inside hand, Coach Tommy B.
Why are we singling him out? I need him to keep his job. Keep going through that trash.
You need to keep his job quiet because if Lou Lamoriello catches wind of that, I don't want them to change trashmen, right, Grumpy?
I want him to stay
focused. Inside information's gone.
I don't need him getting liquored up and spilling the beans to everybody in the bar right across the street from the Coliseum. I don't want to see that.
Alexander said, great win last night. Sorokin looked great also. Wallstrom, great game. The whole third line looked great.
Yeah, Pajot. Remember, I was a little bit concerned about Pajot and his lack of speed. Even after the first game, I was questioning if he was maybe still injured. Well, he's back to being J.G. Pajot, and he and Wallstrom are really clicking. I wouldn't mind making them the second line, honestly. How would you like to have the totem pole with J.G. Pajot and Oliver Wallstrom? How about that for a second line?
Who's the totem pole, Grumpy?
Average Anders. I mean, here's the thing. Wallstrom gets the puck, he's shooting it. I'm shooting the puck. He's got that goal scorer mentality. He's shooting the puck.
Scott L said, teacher, just make sure you eat some dinner before the show on Saturday. I was about to say, if the games start at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be having dinner before the show. I usually like to wait to eat dinner till afterwards, so it keeps me on edge.
Just eat during the show.
I'm not going to eat during the show. Who wants to watch me eat food? I don't know.
During the game, you eat. During the game.
Man, I'm focused. I'm dialed in, Grumpy. Dialed in. Matt I said, Dobson still having some issues. Wallstrom was unbelievable.
I think his issues are his defensive partner. That's what I think the issues are.
Really?
Char's been bad.
Did you see? I always love it when I see sometimes there's certain shifts to where Andy Green and Zdeno Chara are both on the ice at the same time. And every single time, I just pucker up. I'm like, holy crap. It's like, like you see a huge wave coming on top of you and there's nothing you could do. You just say, oh, please, God, let me come out of this alive. That's my feeling every single time we see Zdeno Chara and Andy Green out on the ice at the same time. Yikes.
That's what the Islanders should be calling the nightmare scenario. Honestly, those two guys out there at the same time. Yikes.
The nightmare scenario.
You could add up the ages of everybody else on the ice for both teams, and they'd still be younger than those two guys. Coyotes.
Oh, look at that. That's cute, Grumpy. Now, you will be saddened to know that our favorite Coco the service dog was named Monty, I believe, and not Coco the
Monty.
service dog. Yeah, they didn't name him Coco the service dog. They didn't name him Angus. They didn't name him Coco. So Monty, I believe, was the name.
Do you want to know how much I care about that?
If they were Coco the service dog, Grumpy, I feel like you would be loving it because they determined to name it Coco. We're starting a grassroots movement for next year's service dog to be called Coco.
Why are we even talking about service dogs?
Grumpy, you love the service dog. You love talking about service dogs. That's all you like talking about. You talked about a service dog, Grumpy, for I want to say 10 hours on this.
I don't think they're even service dogs. They're just some dogs they find on the street. And
no, they train them for service dogs, Grumpy. They do that. I promise you they do.
They don't look like
Andrew L saying Parise doesn't look too awful. He at least looks like he's skating hard and is hard on the puck to me.
Yeah, he looks like he's skating hard. He just can't skate well anymore. But he is trying. I give him that. He's hustling, he's trying. He certainly shows effort out there. Not like number 12.
Oh man, Grumpy, is this because the Islanders do well, they win? Sorokin looks fantastic. You have to guide your anger somewhere else, and you say, "Who can I guide my anger to?" The defense didn't look hideous. The defense didn't look hideous because
the defense did look hideous.
Well, it looked less hideous because our goalie stood on their head, right? If our goalie was average or even above average, we're letting in 3 or 4 goals last night, no doubt about it. Our goaltending had to be elite in order to keep a shutout until the last 40 seconds of the game.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. The defense was terrible last night, particularly early on. But that's the wingers too, not coming back and doing their job. It's a full team effort to play Islander Barry Trotz hockey, right? And when the forward group isn't doing their job, it's the same thing. The return of Matt Martin happened yesterday, and was there any difference between when Leo Komarov or Ross Johnson were in there?
Okay, you're going to call me crazy. I thought Matt Martin looked even slower than I remembered.
Yes.
So, maybe I'm in the minority on that one. I thought he looked dangerously slow, but that's the point. Why continue to sign and bring back guys like that? Again, Matt Martin, his fun of the sun is over, right?
But you know what? I'm willing to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because I believe it was an ankle injury that he had surgery on in the offseason that didn't heal up on his own. Then they did the surgery late. But I'm going to tell you again, was there a difference between Matt Martin being out there and Ross Johnston or even Lollipop?
I'll say when Ross Johnson was actually given ice time, and again, they freaking give Ross the raw end of the deal. When he was out there the first game, 5 minutes and 50 freaking seconds, the guy was stealing pucks along the board, throwing hits left and right, doing a superb job, right? 5 minutes and 50 seconds his first game. You could have you didn't have a poor night either, which was the freaking part that baffled me. And again, Matt Martin steps right back in. They say, "Here you go, Matt. Hey, can't wait to love to throw you and thrust you right back onto the scene." So, it is what it is.
Right to like 11 and a half minutes a game. Like, never missed a beat. Okay. Like I said, he's known as the $6 million man. Now he's the $4.5 million man, with depreciation and everything. So, but, still underwhelming from him.
Michael M. said, Islanders drive for 5, but more importantly, the garbage man, the nighttime janitor, the coach conspiracy under Lou's desk, Tommy Baffy.
I don't even want to know what he's doing under Lou's desk, but it sounds kind of, I don't know.
Heinous.
Smarmy.
What a film said. That's really sad about Bossy. Didn't hear about that. Best of luck to him. Yeah, for certain. Matt I also said Pajot really finding his game. That's a guy, again, when Pajot drives and helps drive that line. As much as I like Oliver Wahlstrom, having Jean-Gabriel Pajot as a force out there on the ice is only going to open up more opportunity and more chances to score for Oliver Wahlstrom. Did you see that no-look pass that Jean-Gabriel Pajot had to Oliver Wahlstrom for that second goal, I believe it was? Fantastic.
Yeah,
their goal.
They're good together. Pajot really is the second line center on this team. I feel he does everything like Butchie used to do many, many years ago. I liken Pajot to that style of play. Croc, dump him on the third line. Him, Bailey, and whatever piece of flotsam you could put up Lee. put them out there. Actually, I wouldn't mind Lee on that line with, like I mentioned earlier, Pajot and Wahlstrom. Just to poke in loose pucks because Wahlstrom's going to shoot the puck and generate rebounds. Then just maybe put Pajot put Parise with Kroc and Bailey on the third line. I wouldn't hate Bailey so much. That's a lie. But if he was on the third line.
Rich A said that was a correct play by Bellows. Put back pressure on the puck carrier, and Chara should have picked up the other guy.
Well, Chara didn't do his job because he didn't move. He just was continued just like this is the sound you hear when Chara's going backwards. Boop, 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 boop. Because there's no movement from side to side. He's just coming straight on back. And just like I said, I didn't understand what they would, but Chara didn't do anything on that play. But he got him more minutes, so maybe it worked for him.
Mikey M said power plays suck for a while. I say we bring back Doug Waite as power play coach. We have enough players to not be that bad.
They're not bringing Doug Waite back. Never, ever.
Grump, how about 10 years from now?
No.
5 years from now?
Never.
Okay, you drive a hard bargain. 15 years from now.
I like his thing, and I like Doug Waite. I think he'd make a good power play specialist. But do you think he'd take a job as a power play specialist coach after you've been head coach on this team? Do you think Barry would even let him do that?
No.
I doubt it. Hey, if we start scoring goals, I don't know what Barry would do.
What's Doug Waite doing these days? It makes you wonder.
I don't know.
I'm about to say, I don't know if he's coaching anywhere at the moment.
He's probably still getting paid by the Islanders.
You think? Nah, he's not.
I don't know what his contract was.
I was about to say, I don't think he's coached since.
No, he hasn't. I know he hasn't, but I don't know.
I just didn't know if he had picked up a job there as like an assistant or something like that. I was looking it over. I don't see anything. Oh, yeah. Might I also saying we still have a lot of things to clean up. That's for certain we do. Frank K saying Islanders made the right choice on Eberle. I was at the Devils Kraken game. He looked exactly like the guy who can't finish. He looked bad.
Yeah, no loss there. He was a jag. The only reason I liked him is it seemed like he had good chemistry with Barzal, but there's nothing special about him.
Brian B saying it's only one game. Relax, give the kid a chance. About Kiefer Bellows again. Yeah, you're not going to see us say, "Hey, the kid never deserves another ice time." I just was hoping he was going to step up and grab this opportunity by the horns and say, I am the better player. I cannot be taken out of this lineup. And you've seen some players do that, right? When Devon Toews, right? When Thomas Hickey went out for a certain time period, Devon Toews stepped right in and said, I'm the best player. I'm made for this spot. You cannot take me out of this lineup. Some players grab that chance by the horn. Some players kind of, fumble it around. And it was definitely not a good start to try to make a case that he should be on the ice.
Well,
they should give him a chance, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He was performing with Matt Barzal when Anders Lee went out last year. And as soon as he stopped scoring goals in games after game 3, that was it. He didn't play again. And like I said, as a player, it's like, you got to see how crappy Josh Bailey is. And he just rolls him out there every night. And if I'm not putting up a couple of goals a night, I'm going back to the bench in Siberia, never to be seen again. I mean, it has to wear on you emotionally. It really has to.
So Grumpy, let me ask you this: why are you being sent to Siberia? Why are they being sent to Siberia?
Because it's a one-way ticket to Lollipop, where he comes from.
Estonia, Grump. Eddie saying Bellows was a disaster. Unfortunate for the kid.
It wasn't a good game, but he wasn't the worst player on the ice last night. Number 12 was.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, goodness gracious.
At least he tried.
Michael M saying Bailey looks worse.
True. True.
D-Cut saying Anders Lee needs to stay away from eating Mexican food the night before the game. Had the runs.
Montezuma's revenge. That's what I think.
John P saying, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, John.
Look at John P taking a little different approach with his picture.
I'm waiting to see his head hat. He's not wearing his head hat, grumpy old man. That's a reference and a callback to our TJ and the Grumpy Old Man podcast that we do every single Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could find a link to that, which is on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter in the description below.
What he usually likes to do is make us know how intelligent he is by subtly putting himself in some type of, cap and gown with hey, I accomplished something.
I want to start seeing the awards he's amassed as well behind him.
Yes. Yeah, that's what yeah, it's like here's the thing. He looks like a big shot. I'm gonna tell you. I didn't get one of those. That much I'm telling you. You gotta earn those. I didn't do it.
Frank Hay saying a 100% legal hit on Hughes too. Sounds like Sorokin was the hero last night. For certain he was. You saw the hit that happened to Jack Hughes, right,
I
Grumpy?
did not see it.
Let me pull that for us
I
here.
did not see it. So
I'll pull
yeah.
that. I'll pull
But
that.
I mean, here's the thing, right? I guess Seattle, welcome to the NHL. They got absolutely shit canned by Philadelphia, and the same thing by the Devils last night. So that's good news for us too. I expect a win against Seattle. The Kraken. The Kraken. I expect them to lose many, many games this year.
So when I get this pulled up here, Grump, again, it was I don't know how Jack Hughes, what he looks like for him, but I'll let you look at this. Michael M saying Bellows was so slow.
He did look slow. He did look slow, particularly early in the game. He looked slow. Agreed.
Gotcha, Grumpy.
It was noticeable. He looked like Zach Parise, Anders Lee, Josh Bailey, slow.
Brian B. talking about Zdeno Chara said he won't have anything left in the game by game 20. Oh, God.
I don't know. He's going to be the same player he is now all year long. I don't think much is going to change. I don't think he can't possibly run out of any gas because he's got none in the tank now. So, he's been running on fumes for the last couple of years, but he's, like I said, the turnovers are bothering me with him. He's turning the puck over in the defensive zone, making cross ice passes. I'm like, what are you doing? You're a 400-year veteran. You should not be doing that.
Gotcha, Grump. I'm going to go ahead and show you this.
What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
Little
guy got jacked up by a big guy. No problem.
Ooh. And again, it's not anything you want to see to one of those star players or potential star players. And he went down a little banged up, but yeah, he didn't look too bad. I don't know what it is. Anytime you're drooping your shoulder like that, you hope it's not dislocated, torn, anything like that. But he's kind of letting dangle.
Well, little guys, when they get hit like that by a big guy, bad things are going to happen. It was a clean hit. There's nothing wrong with that. Jacked him up a little bit. Nothing wrong with that.
I didn't think there was anything dirty about that either. I thought it looked kind of relatively clean. And again, you saw, moments later, right? You got to fight out there on the ice. Again, you can't be running, or this is what all teams do, right? Anytime you got an individual who's one of those star players on your team and they get hit, you go ahead and immediately fight the guy as soon as he's back out there next shift.
Well, here's the thing. You can't let your star player get roughed up out there. You just cannot tolerate that. And Lozon, I'm not saying Lozon was out to hurt him.
I don't think so. He was out there definitely to hit him hard. But that's out there too.
It's still hockey. I realize it's not the ice capades that some wish it was. But credit to 55 here for sticking up for, the franchise player. Nothing wrong with that.
No problem.
Yes, it happened the same thing in the Islanders game yesterday, where Martin took a shot on, I don't know who it was for Chicago. He kind of ducked down a little bit, kind of like the Brock Nelson hit against Carolina in the first game of the year, where a guy kind of ducked and it looked worse than it was. Yep. Well, the guy's ducking, and if you're in the process of hitting him, he goes down. And here's the thing, Martin was not trying to hurt the little Chicago fella. And he even tried to, help him up. And then somebody challenged him, and it looked like a guy who'd never dropped his gloves in his life, because Martin dropped his gloves and hit him, I don't know, about 5 or 6 shots before he even, I don't know what he was doing, untying his shoelaces, taking pictures, selfies of him getting beat up. I don't know what it was.
Think about it. Matt Martin's not a guy who fights all that often anymore. Matt Martin's prime fighting days are well in his past too.
But he's willing to mix it up if challenged. Let's give him that. Come on.
For certain he is. I'm just saying, for a guy who used to make his career off the, hey, I need to fight, I need to fight, every other night or at least, like 20 times a year. It's the complete opposite. You'll be. Matt Martin might fight 5 times this year, 5-10 times maximum.
Yeah.
Michael M saying Parise has been okay, and Eddie's saying there the power play has been more of a liability than an opportunity. Why the hell is Bailey a regular fixture on the power play? He's been abysmal so far this season.
Because he's one of Barry's boys. I just love it. Barry, I'll never forget it. Barry said, Yeah, when I was coaching other teams, you really didn't think much of Bailey, you know. But I come here, I realize how important he is. No, Barry, you're a first impressions are usually the right ones. Okay, so he talks a good game, he's smart. But you know what? He's got to be able to play. That's what he's getting paid to do, and he can't do that. Your first assessment is right. Yeah, there's really not much to him.
Oh my
Why
God.
is he on the power play? I mean, why not give Kiefer Bellows some power play time? If you're going to give the kid an opportunity, why not put him on the power play? He'll shoot the puck.
I
That
thought
much
he
I
did,
can
I
tell you.
thought he did play some power play time earlier on.
No, it's Parise. I don't think he played on power play.
I thought he played an Anders Lee power play position on the first power play.
No, I think it was Bavillier. No, I think it was Palmieri was down low.
Huh. Again, it's tough when you're watching all that out there. Vinny Smith, grumpy old man, he's the one who always gives us our Josh Bailey update. And he
We have
wanted
missed Vinny.
no, he gives us, trust me, he gives me the Josh Bailey update. He makes sure to comment. He said he said the Islanders win. Tonight's Josh Bailey report, another public skate session for Josh. 26, 20 shifts, 0 goals, no assists, no shots on net, no checks, no block shots. The coach was mixing up the lines, and Bailey's line was the only one not to score. Also, Bailey, most time on the power play again, and we're 0 for 2. Can't figure out why the power play is not working for the last 3 years. Only 78 more to go. Josh Bailey will break out of his 10-plus year slump. Bailey, you suck.
It's like I said, mystifying. He's got you just watch the team just slough off him. Go ahead. We dare you to shoot the puck, and he just won't do it. If I was Barry Trotz, I'd come out there, I'd take a stick, and I'd smack him in the back of the head when he comes back to the bench. Listen to me, you piece of shit. Shoot the puck.
That's what you tell him, huh?
Yeah, you suck. I'd give him the Bellows treatment. You're not playing for the rest of the year. Well, first of all, Josh Bailey would have to score 3 goals in 4 games. Not like that's ever happening.
I apologize, Grumpy. I already lost some comments.
What else is new?
Oh, Grumpy, I'm sorry.
I don't know how the hell you do it. First of all,
we're trying to integrate comments in earlier so we don't miss any comments, and so it's more interactive. But, Grumpy, as per your request, we're going to do the ad read live, Grumpy. So you don't have to worry, and you could go ahead and pick on me when I make my mistakes, grumpy old man. So
okay, here's the thing. It's not a lie. What TJ just did was lie. It's not at my request. It's because he didn't have time, his 2.5 hours, to do the ad read, the 1-minute ad read without messing it up. So this will be interesting, though. Let's see how many mistakes TJ makes.
So you want to know why before we read into the ad? You want to know why we didn't have a chance to pre-record it? Because, ladies and gentlemen, Grumpy can attest for this. We have all the artists there for our logos and designs that we're coming out with our shirts on. We've got them all picked out. We've got them working on it. We've already ordered it. We've got them working on the designs. And again, they should be taking, they say, ideally anywhere from 5 to 7 days on a few artists that we've got working on it. And so, again, we should be expecting the ability to have a merchandise store up within about the next week or 2.
Yes, it'll be exciting. I'm excited.
I was about to say, Grumpy. Now, this is big. I've been working on that for longer than I'd like to admit. But, hey, we're finally getting around to it. I apologize for the long wait, and thank you so much, guys, for being understanding of it. But I promise the logos, the designs are going to be fantastic. We're hoping by this Saturday we can actually reveal what all the logos are going to look like and all the designs on the T-shirts. That being said,
or at least one.
Yes. That being said, NFL fans hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if they do, they win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available yet in your state, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win. With promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum of a $5 deposit and a $1 wager is required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay. I just want to say one thing.
Woo!
You only made one mistake.
What's up, Grumpy? What's up, Grump?
I mean, that was like an angry ad read. Like you were angry at whoever you were reading that ad to.
I was reading that angry at you, Grumpy.
DraftKings, sign up today. You got it? It was angry, man. That was one thing I got. It was angry. Is that how you used to play football? All angry like that?
Do you want me to start reading them live every single podcast, Grump, and read them angry like that?
I don't think the sponsor would like that, honestly. But then again, they probably don't like you with your radio voice either.
Oh, looky there, Grumpy, taking any cheap shot he
That was a double shot. That was a double shot. Double tap.
Oh, man, Grumpy. Man, oh, man. Michael M. saying Seth Jones averages 25 minutes a night. That's why he got massively overpaid.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his. Never have been. Never understood the love affair with him.
Absolutely. And he's also saying here, think about it. He makes more than Cole McCarr, and makes the same as Charlie McAvoy. What a joke.
Well, McCarr is way younger, and McAvoy just signed another deal. I think McAvoy is the same, or is it maybe $500,000 a year less? McAvoy, I think, is a better overall defensive player. But Seth Jones has that rep. I've just never been a fan of his. I always think he's been overrated.
Brian B said, easy, TJ. One guy took a discount. I'll say it was two. I think Adam Pellick took a relatively discount. Now, I think Ryan Pulock took a very, very noticeable discount. I think still Pellick took a relative discount.
I think Pulock did. He could have cashed in at the end of the year. Remember, he was going to be unrestricted. But Pellick, I think he took a little bit of a discount, but he's defense only. You get paid for putting up numbers. That's what you really get paid for.
That's true. So you see a lot of these guys who don't play great defense, but put up a boatload of points getting overpaid when they don't actually play the actual position they're labeled as.
But let's be honest, right? Still great deals for the Islanders, both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Rody the Riff said Sorokin finally stepped up.
Yeah, he played really well last night.
Oh, Alexander saying Pulock is in mid-season form, missing the net.
He doesn't need to worry about hitting the net for the next 8 years. He must be good because he's been missing it the first 6, right?
Michael M. also said, you should have seen all the Hawks fans happy about the Seth Jones deal. They hit that Lou Lamoriello Kool-Aid pipe.
Well, everybody thinks whatever move their team makes is the greatest move, except for me, of course, because, I'm objective. I just don't go with what the company line is. I question. That's why I'm hated by the media, Islanders media cartel. Speak the truth. They don't like that.
Brian P. in house said, I thought he was really good a couple of years talking about Seth Jones, but he's been a little rough since then.
Yeah, I've never thought he's everything he's been cracked up to be.
That's for certain, grumpy old man. He definitely is taking a step back, at least in my opinion as well. Michael T. saying it wasn't a very good game by the Islanders last night, but they still shut the Blackhawks down.
Yeah.
And he also said he changed his logo, so that is what gets credit for the win.
Okay. I like a little Darius Kasparaitis logo. I got to appreciate it. So we're going to take that. And what's the biggest? The biggest thing is we got the 2 points. That's all that really matters. Yeah. No injuries, and we got 2 points.
Absolutely. Emmanuel R. What is up, Emmanuel? Says, honestly, there is only 2 problems in this lineup. Bailey and playing both Green and Chara. I'm fairly certain a move will happen to solve the defensive problem, but with Bailey, we might be stuck.
Yes, because Bailey sucks. I mean, like I said, 2 expansion drafts, nobody wants him, can't trade him, can't do anything with him. His mom won't invite him to Sunday dinner. I mean, Josh Bailey's in a world of hurt. But Green and Char, I feel something's going to be done sooner rather than later to improve that situation, hopefully.
Do you want to see what's funny? So everybody keeps, linking everybody with the Anaheim defenseman, Lindholm, grumpy old man. And you look at that and they think, oh, well, these are apparently the Islanders have been in discussions or seriously considering Lindholm per an Arthur Staple report. I love how they always do that to try to like, hey, oh man, we're close on the heels. We're going to be making a move here soon. I'm like, Jesus, come on. If they can, they're going to wait closer to the trade deadline. They're not going to launch a move here 3 games into the season, I don't think.
No, they reference somebody else, who just maybe spitball something, and then to try to give it some validity. That's all they do.
Hampus Lindholm, grumpy old man. I tell you, I bring a little bit more offensive pop as well to the party.
Well, that he would do.
Michael M is saying, I cannot watch another one of Andy Green's games. He's freaking awful.
Yeah, he's been terrible too, just terrible.
Jeremy, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know who's been worth him or Char. They've both been pretty bad.
Yeah, it's early yet. I'll give them that.
They do take turns being the worst defenseman on the team, though.
Oh, goodness gracious. Jeremy Ford said the Pelican Pulak signings were huge for the stability on the defense going forward. Really need Dobson, Salo, and Bolduc to keep the progression of their game. What will Dobson's price tag be next year? I don't think he's going to get a huge – I mean, like, what do you think, Grumpy? I don't think it's going to be a huge contract he'll sign here next season.
He's going to be a restricted free agent. They're going to give him maybe a 2-year deal, maybe 3. I don't think – here's the thing. I guarantee you they're not going to give him an 8-year deal. Now, if they do that, they'd have to pay him, who knows what. But if let's say you could sign him for 8 years for $4 million per, you'd do that, wouldn't you, TJ? Absolutely, you do.
How long was the contract again?
8 years.
Oh, he wouldn't take a deal. He wouldn't take a deal like that. $4 million. Why the hell would he take a deal like that?
I'm just saying. But
you threw me for a loop when you said 8 years, $4 million per. I was doing like, you ever see the meme where you're adding up calculations? I'm like, hold on a second, Grumpy. That doesn't make sense. Why the hell would he take a deal like that?
Well,
I'm sorry, Grumpy. Hey, Islanders Inquirer, what would you say if Noah Dobson were to say, I want to sign an 8-year deal at league minimum? Would you say yes, Grumpy? I think I would.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, how about if the Ottawa Senators say they want to offer us Tkachuk straight up for Kiefer Bellows? Would you take a deal like that?
What about I don't know. I would consider it.
Oh,
but of course, it probably won't happen. You don't even need to worry about it.
Oh, okay. D-Cut said, I like the energy the $6 million man brought tonight.
I didn't see much difference between him and Johnston or Lollipop, honestly. Same player, really much.
Grant Hakeem said, what's up, guys? Great first win of the series. Wish Sorokin could have gotten a shutout, but I'll take it. Rotating the defensive pairings was a smart move by Trotz. Hope to see Bellows in the lineup more.
Well, okay, let's take all 3. Yes, I wish Sorokin could have got the shutout. He deserved it. Rotating the defensive pairings. If it means that Dobson gets his minutes cut at the expense of Andy Green and Zdeno Chara, I don't think that's a good idea. And you hope to see Bellows in the lineup, so do I, but I wouldn't get my hopes up too much.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Thank you, Grant.
Absolutely. Thanks, Grant. And then Frank K said, God bless Lee's Majors, a.k.a. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He was the original Steve Austin, the $6 million man.
Anytime you make a reference to that, I have no idea what the hell you're doing.
The $6 million man. You got to play the theme music.
I've never watched
and the little play in. I mean, it's so great. They show him like he's a test pilot, and they see the thing crash on the runway. They said, "We can rebuild him. We have the technology." And they show he's getting 2 new legs, a new eye, a new arm. Then with the success of that show, they had the Bionic Woman, which was Lindsay Wagner, and she had, I think, a couple of new legs. And I know she had super hearing or something like that. So the worst thing was, Steve, and of course they hooked up, like they were boyfriend, girlfriend on the show. So Steve had to watch it, because if he was ever saying something like, hey, to some other girl, hey, cutie, I love you, Bionic Woman would hear him and kick his ass when he got home.
So now this will just ruin any. This has how hyped, Grumpy, when you heard this, how hyped would you used to get watching? I assume this was a TV show from the 80s.
From the 70s, man.
How hyped did you get when you watched the 70s?
He's running, and he's got that, his sweat top zipped down to his navel, and they just show, and of course they'd always run him in slow motion, like Yeah, man, that was a good show. Friday nights on ABC. Look at him jump. Woo! I mean, that's some strength. That's some leg strength. He could play defense.
I would say he's maybe on a trampoline on that
Look, his hair doesn't even move.
one. Oh, Grumpy, I just wish I had that much hair. Oh man, oh man. I'm jealous of the $6 million hair. That's what I can say, Grumpy.
And the actor Lee Majors was married for a time to Farrah Fawcett, who was on Charlie's Angels.
I was about to say I've heard of Farrah Fawcett before.
She had the best poster ever.
Oh, look at you reminiscing, Grumpy. Michael Chara isn't any better.
Yeah, while we look at this, bring up Farrah Fawcett poster because you'll see it. It's the red bathing suit. You'll know it right away. It's the #1 selling poster of all freaking time. She sold I think she sold like over 2 million of those posters. Think about that. 2 million freaking posters. And I think they were all teenage boys, such as myself, who at that time.
I don't even want to know what you're doing with Farrah Fawcett's poster.
No, I'm just saying she was very, very popular with teenage boys and probably adult men as well. Bingo. There it is.
Grumpy. There's a little red bathing suit photo for you.
That's the one.
You could still order one on Amazon, Grump. You could
there you go. I'll tell you, they're still selling like hotcakes. I mean, she's got $1 million smile, right? Come on. Look at the hair, all feathered back. Yeah, she's something else.
Mike M said Chara isn't any better. But I love Chara. When he's on the ice, there's no nonsense from the other team.
True. He just steps in and that's the end of it.
He said, how about Andy Green or Chara? I'd take Chara right now.
Yeah, because he's bigger and it's tougher to outmuscle him. You can outmuscle Andy Green.
I'm going to pop up a comment, Grumpy, and I'm going to be right back. Oh, Grumpy, what can I say? Michael T said, could we have any interest in Travis Hamonic? Heard he's ready to get out of Vancouver. Not sure what his deal is, actually. I'll pull up Travis Hamonic's contract as well, Grumpy, as I go ahead, and I will bounce back here in a second, Grump.
Okay. I don't know if Travis is interested in traveling anywhere. Remember, he left here. He wanted to be closer to his family in Calgary. And so we moved him there, and now he's with Vancouver. I don't know if he's willing to travel, back to the States or back to the Northeast. I really don't know.
That also being said, you'll see here, I'll zoom in for you guys. He's got, oh man, that made that ad very large.
I don't know what this is.
He's got another year left on his contract. If you could see that, Grumpy old man, he's still got one additional year after this year. But I'll be right back, Grumpy.
Well, listen to me. No, hold on a second. Hold on. Okay. Well, he's just going to abandon me. See, now I had to waste my whole comment. I don't know how long it's going to take. So now I'm supposed to talk about a cap hit, $3 million. Great. He's got another year after this one on his deal. Yeah, that's manageable. I honestly don't know what he has left, but he certainly has to be better than Andy Green at this point. We would have to shed cap to get him here, though, because as you know, we're $6,000 or $6,800 from the salary cap right now. So we would have to send some cash back the other way to Vancouver. Like I said, I'm not sure what he has left in the tank. Is he willing to come back to the Northeast, or does he still want to stay up in Western Canada so he could be near his family? Those are all questions that have to be asked, and I don't have the answers to those questions. But, it kind of is what it is at this point. I think we're going to ride who we have right now with Chara and Green for the foreseeable future, honestly. I don't think they're looking at this point in time to acquire someone else. Like I said, we're only 3 games in. Obviously, they're pleased with Chara's play since he got almost 20 minutes of ice time last night, while Dobson and Green got 16 plus. Thanks for coming back. But you know what? If you're going to put a comment up and then sit there the whole time after I go through the comment, then just pop up a random number, and then I have to try to expound on a random number like that, I mean, I just don't think that's smart on your part.
Grumpy, I wanted to put up what his contract was. That's his contract.
You should have done it first. You should have pulled that up and then put the comment on it. Then I could have commented on it.
So what are you talking about, Grump? What are you doing? You be besmirching me back there as I was gone, Grumpy?
What I should have said was that your handling of the comments has been an epic fail. That's what I should have done.
Epic fail. John Smith said here, they played a good period and a half in the last 3 games. Something has to change with the bottom 4 defensemen not looking good there.
Yeah, and our forward group hasn't looked good defensively either. I mean, let's not just say that it's the defenseman, because everything's a team concept. And the team concept is everybody buys in, everybody plays defense. And I think that the defensive aspect of the forward game has been lacking for the beginning of the season for the most part as well.
Brian P. saying Green and Chara could easily be replaced with better defensemen there with Sebastian Aho and Robin Salo.
Yeah, but then there'd be brain overload on some of these Islander sites when a young guy makes a mistake. You know, the world's going to be falling because if they make a mistake, it's the end of the world. Where an old guy can make 1 trillion mistakes and it doesn't really matter. I just find it how they're so quiet on the failures of the veterans, because that's what they figure that the Islander management wants them to do, and they all figure they're getting jobs with the Islanders. I'm under no delusions when it comes to that.
Why, Grumpy? You don't think that your rosy outlook and rosy display of the Islanders in their play won't earn you a job and in good favor of the New York Islanders organization? What?
Actually, I think I'm too talented and too entertaining and make the whole rest of the organization look bad.
Well, here's the thing, right? I do think that's funny too, what you had mentioned, because they talk about, hey, terrible game by Bellows, terrible game by, Oliver Wahlstrom. This is exactly what we need to see. He was off to a poor, start to preseason. Quiet and crickets when Andy Green's been playing like trash and Zdeno Chara's looked less than what we had expected, even less than what we had suspected and expected from him. So, crickets on that. We'll never hear a bad word about Andy Green or Zdeno Chara. That is for certain.
Or there'll be an excuse. I don't want to hear. Don't make excuses. I don't want to hear any excuses. If you fail, you fail. Kiefer Bellows, did he get an excuse from me today? No, absolutely not. He didn't play well. No excuse. He just didn't do the job last night. Is what it is.
Yep. Alexander saying Bailey off to a -3 to the start of the season.
That's Simon Holmstrom like.
Oh man. Brian P. talking about they take a pass on both Green and Chara. And then Frank K saying Chara is freaking awful and done. Grumpy old man would have been better out there. Whoa.
Chara's got more reach than I have. Chara's a better player than I am at this stage, for certain.
Grumpy, really?
I'm not afraid to admit it. Even now, he's a better player than I ever was.
I don't doubt it. He's still a professional. Brian P. said, I am not a Bailey hater, but he's been terrible.
He's just been Josh Bailey. He's not any different than he's been any other year, honestly. That's who he is. That's who he is.
For certain, he
worst player in the league. That's him.
And then
he's not the worst player in the league.
Michael T saying, no more Komarov. No more.
Just wait. I'm surprised he didn't play last night on the first line. I think even Barry knew. No. You know what he probably said? You know what? Kiefer hasn't been looking good in practice. I'm going to shut that grumpy old man up and put him into the lineup because I know he won't produce.
That's what you think. You think Lou Lamoriello? I know Lou from the landline listens, but are you thinking Lou Lamoriello also listens? And he said these are direct orders to Barry Trotz. I know that Anders Lee had some bad Mexican food, and he's got the runs tonight, so he won't be able to play. You need to put in Kiefer Bellows because he's looked bad in practice when we've watched him the last few nights. Or the last few days.
I think Kiefer Bellows looked poor for some reason. Maybe he was sick too, and they're saying, nope, you're going out there anyway. And they fed some type of illegal substance to Anders Lee to get him out of the game. Put Bellows in there. It's probably Barry's plan. Put Bellows in there when he's not up to snuff. He won't be able to play. Or maybe they slipped something into his drink to make it where he was like lethargic out there. They said, just give him whatever Josh Bailey's been drinking all these years. That'll make him lazy and lethargic looking. So that's what happened. I think it was all part of a setup to hurt my boy Kiefer Bellows in his quest to become a starter on this team.
They're framing our boy. Keith.
That's right. Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you want to hear?
Now you sound like you could be writing for other organizations. Matt I also saying Bailey has not been good. That's for certain. What if Film saying, just take Bailey off the power play and I'd be happy.
Just take him off my team and I'll be ecstatic.
Michael M saying Josh Bailey analytically has been the worst forward on this team so far.
I don't need analytics to see that he's been a piece of shit. I don't need numbers. I can just tell by looking and not seeing. Oh, where's 12? Oh, there he is.
Michael M. also let me know Bridgeport has won a game. Thank you, Michael M. I wasn't sure. I know maybe they've got. I thought they had over. I thought they lost the game in overtime, but I guess they won. But yeah, I think they won one in shootout. Jeremy Ford saying with Leo 3 million, Thomas Hickey 2.5, Cal Clutterbuck 3.5 coming off the books. That should open up space to sign back Cal Clutterbuck at 2 million plus. Noah Dobson at who knows what, and will Bellows be the third line left winger next season?
My God, do you think they signed Clutterbuck back?
Oh, to be honest, I don't want them to sign Clutter back. I love Clutter. He's older. He's got a lot of miles on the tires, and I just think to myself, he was considering retiring 2 years ago when he's like, I don't have feeling in two fingers. He was seriously considering retiring. That came out in the Athletic article, and I'm just thinking to myself, do I see him signing another contract back? Maybe he's had a change of heart, but I don't know.
I like Cal Clutterbuck. To me, he's more valuable than Matt Martin for certain. But my gosh, he's going to be 34 years old. I mean, again, I can't make an exception on my rule, which is signing guys over 30s to long-term extensions. I just cannot buy that. I'm sorry. Noah Dobson's going to get paid. Who knows how much? Barry will keep his price down by not giving him ice time or not putting him in high leverage situations. That's probably a plan.
Well,
and Bellows will not be the third line left wing. No way.
I don't imagine it either. I think, if anybody were to have any type of bites on Kiefer Bellows, he'd be gone in a heartbeat. Because what I think, again, at this trade deadline, we're going to add a left-handed defenseman. If Kiefer Bellows has to be used as some sort of sweetener, if anybody has any interest, I think they're going to be like, oh, here we go. Here's Kiefer Bellows. And seriously, the Islanders want Kiefer to look good out there on the ice. I think they want him as a trade chip. And when he comes out there and plays like he did last night, yikes. I mean, it just doesn't do anything well for his value. That being said, I don't know what approach they're going to take this offseason, right? Because I look at their defensemen. Ideally, what I think they want to have happen, Noah Dobson steps in. He's a veteran, right? Next season he'd be in the NHL for 3.5, 4 years. I mean, he would have played, including possibly playoff games, 180 to 200 plus games. So that makes him, hey, you're a vet at that point. You've played over 200 games. You're a veteran as a defenseman in the league. And that's when I think they start slowly integrating in Robin Salo and Samuel Bolduc. And again, ideally, they don't want to integrate two rookies in at the same time. But that's when I think you're going to start seeing those defensemen start to come into the fold. So I think that covers, your defensive side of the puck. Again, you're going to be a little younger than you probably want, a little younger than Barry Trotz would like. But I think that was the idea for the start for them.
Yeah. Give the young guys a shot. There's upside to them. There's no upside to the Geezer squad. Just none.
And if you think about it like that, hey, is there any way you can integrate in another forward? I don't know who they'd have. I don't think Simon Holmstrom is coming up to fill a right wing spot next season. I just don't think he'll be ready. I think he'll spend this year and next year in Bridgeport. So I don't think we'll have to pay $2 million for a right wing free agent on the market. Maybe you can get somebody a little cheaper than that, and you can actually have a little bit more bang for your buck, right? You could sign maybe Dobson, and depending on what else you do, you might have enough there for a little bit more of a sustainable, or a little bit more of a talented, third line left winger.
They have to incorporate, or what they should do is a contract for Matt Barzal next offseason. You don't let him get to the last year before free agency. You try to get an extension done, give him an 8-year deal. I don't know how much they'd have to pay, $9 million, whatever it is. It's a steal. He's worth every penny. He is your franchise. He's the only offensive piece that you have.
Brian P. saying, Grumpy with another awesome movie reference with Harry Potter and the Invisibility Cloak.
Very true. It's a classic.
I'm not saying I mentioned that earlier to you, Grumpy old man, but I did.
What, 10 years ago?
No, I mentioned it to you earlier on. I said, Josh Bailey's like, he's got an invisibility cloak on. You said, aha. Yeah, Grumpy, what can I say? What can I say? John Smith said here, William DeFore is lighting up the queue. He looks like a great up-and-comer. Again, he is overage, and, for the St. John Sea Dogs, 8 games played so far, 7 goals, 5 assists, Grumpy old man, plus 10. So he's definitely off to a good start.
you know what? As Al Arbor said, I can teach him to play defense. I can't teach him how to score. So I'm looking at those numbers. He has no shot of making this team.
Oh, stop, Grumpy. What? Come on. I tell you, William DeFore is I mean, come on. Come on. William DeFore has looked good, and he's looked good last. He's another guy. Will Jeffries as well has looked good there, for his time period. I think he's at Merrimack.
I want all those guys to hit. Every single one of them. Why? Because it gets some of the flotsam off of our team. That's what I want. Get rid of the old guys who make too much money. Incorporate the young guys on cheap deals. Then you can go out and get yourself a free agent, somebody to put you over the top. I know it's not the Barry style, but that's what I want to happen. Oh, by the way, Panarin scored the game winner against Toronto on Monday night.
Why would you throw that, by the way? What the hell is that even
Because
mean?
I'm still pissed we didn't get him and we got stuck with average Anders Lee. That's what
Oh. Matt, I said very blah, grumpy old man. That was a while ago. I'm not sure what the reference was to. And that being said, moving right along, Frank K said maybe Holmstrom could be a security guard who checks vac statuses for fans to enter the games.
I don't think he could even carry that out. You see how weak he looks? He probably couldn't even hold his pencil. Check.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, no. Michael M said, yeah, my bad. TJ Bridgeport is winless. Okay. I thought they were winless. I wasn't sure. I know one went to shootout. I couldn't remember if we won or lost. Michael T said, yeah, Hamnick is actually on leave of absence from Vancouver. Not really sure what's going on. It's kind of strange. I know he's been a big family guy, and I think some of his families have some sort of issues or something like that. I can't remember exactly what they were, but that's why I knew he wanted to go back home. So maybe with COVID, I think he sat out last year due to COVID as well, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
Matthew C said Grumpy loves Oliver Wahlstrom.
I do. I think he's got talent. He puts pucks in the net. Who doesn't like what was that ad they used to have? Chicks love the long ball, right? Everybody loves a goal scorer. That's going to be my saying.
Everybody loves the goal scorer. Brian P said, Isles Misery representing as usual, Grumpy.
That's right. Gotta love Isles Misery.
Jason C said, Grump with the F-bomb.
I know, I was stunned. I don't think the whole thing came out, but it was close enough.
And Michael T said, oh my goodness, Grumpy, my virgin ears.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
Michael M laughing my ass off. Grumpy dropping F-bombs.
Yep. See, it's that Bailey. He brings out the worst in me. He honestly does. Like I said, if we did, and I know we are going to do a live in-game, put the kids to bed early. And I don't think that's one we'll post. We'll just have to do a live thing. I mean, I don't know. Well, maybe the numbers would actually be better if we do that. I don't know.
We'll have to let everybody know. We'll put like rated MA or something like that. Rated R.
Yeah. Josh Bailey's playing TVMA.
John Smith was saying Travis Hamonic won't get vaccinated. That's why he's on leave. Okay. Well, I think he had, he's been a guy that's always like had a lot of family. So maybe he's got a reason not to. Who the heck knows? Michael M said, excuse my language. Yeah, his choice. Absolutely. Michael M also saying, excuse my language, fellas. I'm sorry if any kids are watching. Nothing you wouldn't hear at a hockey game, though. That's for certain.
Yeah. No, and don't worry. TJ always protects. He'll always protect the comments. Always.
Yeah.
And most kids can't read anyway. Today's day and age. I don't think they even teach them how to read anymore. I don't think so.
John P said, Grumpy old man, what's your shirt size?
We'll get that for TJ. I'll send it to TJ and he'll get it for you.
Absolutely, Grumpy. Now, Scott L said, you guys like the ESPN TV tandem of Sean McDonough and Ray Ferraro?
Yes, I like them both.
Fair enough.
Sean McDonough's always been good, and Ferraro's been good too.
I've always liked Ray Ferraro, that's for certain. This is Ray Ferraro here. And then Brian P said, please, or tell me, please, why is the awful Brent Thompson still coaching?
Probably because this is the last year.
You talk about things that mystify, like my thought process. That's been something that's always mystified my thought process as well.
Well, he used to have pictures of Garth Snow. He's probably got some of Lou. But I'm just going to say that it's probably this is the last year of his contract, and they'll serve it out, and he'll be gone because all of his assistants were canned after last year. He's the last man standing, and I think he'll be gone after this year. I mean, how many, 10 and 40 seasons can you have before they let you go?
Grumpy, I'm sorry you heard that little snapshot, but I wanted to show you. So John P, he said, that little pseudo smack. He said he was looking for the wall of trophies, Grumpy old man. Here is the wall there. John P happened to get it to me quick. So there's the wall of trophies and awards, Grumpy old man.
I know it. I mean, he's a hot shot. I mean, I know, I understand. I can tell. I know. He was showing us that, yeah, I'm something. I'm something in the real world, you couple of clowns. I understand. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, Frank K said, next Islanders coach, buddy, talking about Brent Thompson.
That's only Fredo.
Matthew C said he needs to be removed.
Yeah, it's true. Fredo needs to go too.
Jeremy Ford said, DeFore looks like he has a similar shot to Wallstrom. Haven't watched him play a full game. Any feedback on his game?
I hear the thing he doesn't do well is play a 200-foot game. Well, that's the biggest way to not get yourself any time on this team, unless, of course, you're, any of the myriad of vets on here. They can do anything they want.
Now, I will tell you, Grumpy old man, from what I've seen, and again, I think recently had a 4-point game. He looks very, very gifted on the offensive side of the puck. A quick release there with the shot. But again, he's another one of those guys that are far away. He's going to need a lot of time there in Bridgeport and EA also to go ahead and refine his game.
Well, why isn't he up now with the AHL team? I mean, he didn't have to go back to juniors again this year.
I think that, well, here's the thing though. Last year was it was odd with the truncated year. Honestly, for his development, I want him to play major minutes. I want him, at the St. John's Sea Dogs, he's playing, monster minutes. He's playing, first power play minutes. He's playing all the prime opportunities and chances. I like that being the case.
Casper Holmstrom doesn't even know how to tie his skates, and he's playing first line minutes for Bridgeport, and he's done nothing. Less than nothing is what he's done. This kid is more talented. Why doesn't he get a shot? That's what I want to know. It's a common thread within the organization. You're a big goal scorer? Too bad. You're going to get punished. I don't even know why they draft them. Just draft more Lundkrantzes, Holmstroms, and be Hammenegger, third, fourth line grinders. Try to win every game 0-0. I mean, come on.
You'll be happy to hear that in the Swedish Elite League. Alexander Lundkrantz, 4 games, 0 points. Last year in the Swedish Elite League, 16 games, 1 assist. So you'll be happy to hear he's lighting it up. A future bottom sixer at best.
I mean,
he was a reach when we selected him. But again, I think we've hit on a few later picks. So, that's always worth taking into account as well.
Well, until actually some of them are allowed to play in the lineup, I don't even know to agree with that or not. No one gets a shot. No one. Nobody. Need not apply. No vacancies. Unless you got, unless you got a black card, you're not getting in here. Sorry.
Talk about an AARP card, Grumpy?
That's right, old timer.
Oh, goodness gracious. Paying them, what was that? Meet the Fockers?
Meet the Fockers. Oh, look, a rubber booby.
Oh, goodness. Mikey Mal saying here, Bailey has absolutely sucked for his first 3 years, but he's gotten a lot better. I think you're exaggerating how bad he should be. He should be benched when he's bad, and he should have to earn his ice time, but he can be clutch.
The whole thing is they don't make anyone earn their ice time on this team unless you're a young guy. Old guy, doesn't matter how bad you play. I've seen what you did 15, 20 years ago. So you're going to get big minutes on this team. Young guys, sorry.
Here's the thing. Josh Bailey, let's give Josh Bailey credit where credit's due. Sometimes he has outstanding games. I thought he's been more than exceptional his, the last 2 years in the playoffs. And he's a guy who can be very streaky at times too, right? We talk about the streakiness of some players. Josh Bailey can be very streaky at times.
I don't look at him as clutch. I just don't. If you're asking me, if there's somebody I need out there to score a goal in a big crunch minute, he's not on the ice for me. He's just not. Won't shoot the puck.
Yeah. And then Mikey Mal also said, once again, Grumpy makes a good point, but goes over the top with Josh Bailey.
I want to make sure you understand my feelings on the subject.
He's an over the top type of guy. Bombastic, I think. Bombastic doesn't do enough justice to how crazy Grumpy is sometimes.
Here's
Frank,
the thing, everything has a kernel of truth in it. Everything I say has truth.
they say every joke and every joke has a tiny revelation in it. Frank K saying Gary Thorne needs to come back. Sean McDonough blows and stumbles over his words.
I don't know. I didn't think he was bad last night, but I don't know what Gary Thorne's doing now. I think he just does baseball.
And then he's saying very average. I like Ray Ferraro, but it is great for hockey to be on ESPN. They got to work. They got work to do on TNT. It's much better.
Yeah. What's Levy's name? Isn't Scott, is it? I don't think Scott's his first name.
No, Scott Levy's a commenter. He comments on here, Grumpy. Scott Levy. He's the guy with the hand that comes down with the orange.
I know that, but there's another Levy who does the ESPN. He's the
This is a reply to Scott.
I understand, but he was on there with Messier and with Chelios last night.
Okay.
Steve Levy.
Maybe related to Scott Levy.
Scott Levy is the commenter. Steve Levy is the guy who does the intermission show with Messier and Chelios.
I'll tell you this again. Scott Levy was the man who commented, so that was a reply to Scott Levy, also about the subject. Grumpy.
Well, I just thought that I'd comment on Steve Levy because he remembered Mike Bossy as well last night.
So many Levys in my head there. It's about to explode. Michael M said, barely adds incentives leads to endless yawning, an abbreviation for Bailey.
Yeah. Just put down he sucks.
Andrew L said, if Bailey scores 30 plus goals this year, Grumpy Old Man should buy a Bailey jersey. Well, Grumpy, how about this? If he scores 30 plus goals, you could buy 100,000 Josh Bailey jerseys.
Yeah, that's not happening. Considering he's never even scored 20 in his quote unquote illustrious career.
I can't remember. I think games played. He's coming up on who the hell?
He's over 920. I think they said 924, something like that.
Wow. Quite some time. Brian P said, Isles Misery loves TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
There you go.
Michael T said, prayers up for Boss, number 22, purest goal scorer in the history of the NHL, in my opinion.
Yep, very possible.
Jeremy Ford says, DeFore, 6'3", 204, NHL caliber shot. How's the rest of his game? More like Bellows, Wahlstrom, or Michael Del Cole?
For me, Wahlstrom's really picked his game up. Del Cole's just a ham and egger. I don't think he plays enough defense right now. I mean, that's what I hear the biggest complaint about him is that he doesn't play the full 200-foot game.
And I will tell you, too, you really are able to distinguish how good of a skater he is. He's not a guy who's got blazing fast speed, but you're able to distinguish whether a guy can skate or cannot skate based off of how he does in Bridgeport. If he looks like he's one of the better skaters in Bridgeport, okay, he's got more than adequate skating in order to be successful in the NHL. If he looks like an average or below average skater in Bridgeport, that's when you think to yourself, okay, I'm not sure his skating will ever be up to par there with the NHL level.
Remember, Wahlstrom couldn't play defense either when he first came up. Kiefer Bellows still can't, seemingly. And Michael Del Cole, well, he's Michael Del Cole.
Frank K said, get Stephen A. Smith to call a game with the return of Skip Bayless, first take the NHL edition. I'd love that, right? I love when, because they don't watch hockey at all. I love when Stephen A. talks about hockey. He likes this. I think he likes watching the sport, from as a third party every once in a while, but that would be very interesting. I would like that.
They'd be lost. They'd be absolutely lost.
Yeah.
I think he's heard the name of Gretzky. That's about the extent of what he knows.
I think he would like that. I think I would like that. I think it would be a fun time. Hey, okay. It's like listening to people again. They big personalities comment on hockey. I would like it. I don't know. That's at least my opinion. Michael T saying Pajot and that third line, I could see the chemistry forming.
It's pretty much Wahlstrom's improvement as a player. That's what the big change is. Wahlstrom's improvement as a player overall and his drive. You see it. I mean, he's been skating extremely hard the last two games. That's what you want from him, right? Isn't that what you want? And he's unconscious when he shoots the puck. I'm shooting it. That's when he's at his best.
D-Cut said TJ with the eye roll when Grumpy shows his love for the Owls Misery Rated R says it all.
It's true. You can't even hide your disgust
My
from my
hatred.
friends. From my friends at Islanders Misery Rated R.
My hatred for the Owls Misery Rated R. Oh,
But
goodness.
here's the thing. I'm sure you're going to put up another comment about your little buddies. He likes to do that. Anyone ever notice his little pals? They get a lot of run. Even comments about his little pals. Oh, there's my pal. Garbage boy.
Oh, stop. Warzone Senior Citizen said Robin Salo greater than Zdeno Chara.
I think that Barry Trotz would lose his mind if Robin Salo was playing up with the big team and made a mistake. He would lose his mind. Chara could be a -15, but if Salo was a +2 but was on the ice for a goal and made a bad pass, I think he'd lose his mind.
Michael TJ, I think we've been over this before, but you go through turnstiles, not around them. You get in trouble. Yeah, that's right. I always do that. They run through them like a turnstile, run around like a turnstile. I guess it uses a tree, a pylon. Yeah, I make that mistake. I apologize. Scott L said Gerard Gallant is putting Panarin on the same line as the Vinajad for the next game and maybe beyond. Hey, Barry, maybe we should put either Bellows or Barzy or Wally and Barzy on the same line together.
There you go. I'm fine with that.
We tried it out for one period and he looked kind of bad.
Okay, we tried it out for one period. Not even a period. And again, we tried out a few shifts. It didn't work. Change it up. Okay, see, that's the thing. He never gives any. If a young guy goes out there and it doesn't work immediately and consistently, he goes because he's a creature of habit, is what he is. Gallant, not afraid to take a chance. Yeah, well, you know what? Panarin's my best player. Zibanejad's my second best. Let's play the two of them together. What do they do in Edmonton? Draisaitl and McDavid play together. Why? Because their numbers are astronomical. That's why.
I think in the end, even though Palmieri fits our style well, I think that Wahlstrom would be a magical fit with Matt Barzal. Matt Barzal opens up so much space. When you have one of those pure snipers, as I mentioned beforehand, who can really pick pockets, you're in a situation where you can put up goals in droves.
And you put Beauvillier on the left wing. That's what I would do. Beauvillier, Barzal, Wahlstrom. There's my first line. That's the first line that I want. That's what I want for my first line. Second line can be Palmieri, Croc, and I guess Average. And then the third line, Bailey. But then you're wasting Pajot. I don't know. I don't even want to get into it because it frustrates me because anytime you have to put a good player with Josh Bailey, it just diminishes everything they do.
Mikey M saying Bailey has been was by the fans the most hated Islander, and he's definitely improved. He can really have bad games, but he's earned respect from the very critical Islanders fans.
Okay, he's a below average player. That's what I say. He's average in certain things, but the reason, yes, he was the most hated Islander, and he has improved because you couldn't get any worse than he was, even though he continues to try. And he's been abominable to start this year. Just terrible. I mean, all you have to do is look.
And here's the thing. I think Josh Bailey bounces back. I think the Islanders have not been off to a great start, but you look historically, they usually don't have great starts on the Barry Trotz. You look at, over the first 20 games. I remember, 2 years ago, what was it? We were like a 17-game point streak or something like that. Last year was like a 17-game point streak. Or maybe it was 2 years ago. I can't remember. 2 years ago, we had that 17-game point streak. Jeremy Ford said, could Bellows play with Barzal, Lee with Nelson, Beauvillier with Pajot and Parise, Martin, Clutterbuck on a carousel?
Well, I don't know who you would have. I guess you're having Wahlstrom play with Barzal. I don't like that line. Barzal, Wahlstrom, and Bellows. No, I'd much rather have Beauvillier, who has chemistry with Barzal and Wahlstrom. I think that's a great first line. Pajot, he needs to play with guys who can skate as well. Pajot, Palmieri, and maybe Parise. I don't know. But he can't skate much either. Lee can't skate at all. Nelson and Bailey, what's the difference? I don't know. But I like the idea of Barzal with Beauvillier and Wahlstrom. I like the speed. I like the shot. Both of them not afraid to shoot the puck. I kind of like that idea.
Brian P said, "Yeah, D-Cut, he doesn't love us like the grumpy old man loves the Isles."
That's true. Very true.
Tony Cheese said Bailey must have dirt on the coaches and blackmails them and keeping them on the roster.
Yeah, that's what I think as well.
And Frank K saying Bellows got ruined by the 1970s philosophy here.
Well, maybe.
D-Cut saying smart move by Trotz to mix up the defensive pairings midway through the game. Dobson looked better with Green.
Yes, because Char just, I don't know. He's too slow out there. Dobson has to cover for him. Where it's, but you think about it. But they were mixing everybody up. It wasn't like a set pairing after that. I mean, you saw Pulak playing a lot with Chara and Pellick playing with Mayfield. So there's a lot of bouncing around. It's what happens when you got two guys who can't play anymore. It's tough.
Yeah.
And to Barry's credit, let's give Barry credit. He realized some changes needed to be made, and he did it. My concern is you're not giving Dobson, the only puck mover of the group, maximum minutes. You have to do that.
And even last night, we still hemorrhaged a lot of chances coming the other way. Let's bring that into context, because if Sorokin doesn't stand on his head, we're looking at a much different game. It was an outstanding game by Sorokin. I mean, number one star doesn't do him justice with how well he played last night. John Smith said Parise is worth $750K, and then he's got the incentive bonus. It is a much better choice compared to the $3 million of Leo Komarov. That is
1,000% agree with that. 1,000%.
Yep.
Well, his thing, Parise plays power play, penalty kill. I mean, I'm baffled that a 37-year-old can come in and play on every single special team we have, play big, important minutes when he couldn't even play for Minnesota. He was a healthy scratch. What does it say about the rest of the roster? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Brian P. Exactly. Pajot and Wallstrom are playing great. Parise, not so much. Bellows deserves more than one game. Agree, Grumpy. Show more confidence in the kid.
That's what they should have done last year. They had the opportunity to ride it out with him. I mean, they were going to make the playoffs. Why not just give him extended run as the left wing on the number one line? I think you'd see a better product now. Leo Komarov, you could have slid him up there anytime you wanted. He was never going to produce, but give Bellows a chance. That was your opportunity to actually see what you had in the kid. Not just 3 games. That's not enough. Roll him out there every night. Say, you know what, Kiefer, we're going to ride you for the next 20 games and see what you can do. Show us what you can do. That's what they should have done. They didn't do it because he's scared. Coach is scared all the time.
Oh, come on.
He does. He won't give the young guy a chance because he's scared that something bad can happen, where he knows what he's going to get with the veterans. Yes, there's zero upside, but you know what? They're not going to hurt us. One positive, I don't think you're going to see Barzal benched anymore. I don't think you're going to see that anymore.
You can't bench Matt Barzal. You can't.
I think those days are over.
Good. Tony Chi said the Islanders never said that podcast. We aren't snowflakes here. A little bit wordy, but it could catch on. I think it could catch on. Sure. Christopher C said, Grumpy, is this what you wanted out of the boys?
No, but I got what I wanted. At the end of the day, got 2 points. I want to see us improve our defensive zone coverage, because let's be honest, Chicago's a bottom feeder team right now, and they still gave us problems. I mean, Columbus has played well so far. I'm still thinking we're going to beat Columbus. Maybe it's just the fan in me. And then Arizona's abysmal too. We should take care of them. Vegas, that's a whole nother story.
Columbus actually has been off to a pretty decent start, though.
Yeah. So is Buffalo, 3-0. Are they a threat to win Stanley Cup? I don't think so.
The Buffalo Sabres on the road to 82-0, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, here's the thing too. I think this is what we saw. And again, we We had seen this too. We had predicted this, right? The first 2 games of the season against very, very formidable opponents. The next 3 games, again, against, you've got the Chicago Blackhawks, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Arizona Coyotes. Those are all 3 very winnable games. And again, I think our team was going to play much better against those teams than they did against team styles that give us trouble, right? Carolina, Florida, those heavy forechecking teams with a lot of speed, a lot of offensive acumen, they just tend to give us a little bit of trouble with our style.
And I just want to comment on Christopher. Just looking at his picture, he's pretty smart too. He's got one of those ribbons too.
He's got himself the graduation, or he's got himself.
Yeah, looks like college graduation. Looks like he has got himself a little something special.
He's got himself the cape. He's got himself a cape behind. That's
but I'm just saying the little ribbon there. It looks like not everybody gets those ribbons.
Grumpy, you got a ribbon from the island. You got the ribbon from the from NHL, right, Grumpy?
Yeah, the NHL ribbon. I got that.
He's got the.
It's more like police tape. Do not advance past this area. Stay away from the cartel.
Oh, goodness gracious. They boxed you off, right, Grumpy?
That's right.
Brian P. said Ho-Sang 4 points in the preseason games and 2 goals in 1 game so far in the AHL.
Amazing when you give a young kid with talent a chance.
I don't think he played the most recent game, or maybe he didn't play the first game with the Toronto Marlies. So again, I'll be keeping an eye out on him. I wish him nothing but success. Just like I want our players to be successful, I don't wish anything but success for Josh Ho-Sang. I hope he can get his career on path.
Yeah, I just think if you give a young guy a chance, you never the kid's talented, right? Just never given a chance.
Dave C said there should be a T-shirt that says "In Grump We Trust." Maybe that's a shirt we got to come up with too. We've got a few of them. We'll come out with the logos and designs. Hopefully, be all ready by Saturday. But there's going to be 5 in the initial 5 initial shirts when we come out with their designs. So,
and Dave, I just want to let Dave know that I've been willing to work with TJ about setting up the microphone, but he hasn't had any time for me, Dave. Thank you for it, by the way.
We're gonna get you working on that microphone. I tell you, we wanted to get the shirts out first, and the microphone's next, Grumpy. Okay. We got the lighting right, and again, big thanks to Dave on that one. We're gonna get.
I get a suntan every 4 times a week.
Oh goodness! Michael T said, "Shoot the puck, Barry. Shoot the puck. Remember those days, Grumpy?"
I do. That was the big whistle. Bill Chadwick used to yell that at Barry Beck. Shoot the puck, Barry. Shoot the puck. The big whistle.
Now he's just saying, now it's just shoot the puck, Bailey. Shoot the puck.
Yeah, but there's, instead of puck, there's something else. Man, I tell you what, I can't help myself. I'm just like, I said to the warden last night, I'm like, look at this piece of garbage. Why will he not do it? It's like mystifying. I have to write the word mystifying down so I wouldn't forget it at my advanced age. Mystified. I don't understand it.
Did you go to
It defies logic.
If I can pronounce it correctly, a thesaurus, Grumpy?
Thesaurus? No.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Frank K said Chara is ruining Dobson 100%. He has had to cover 100% of the ice because Chara, the snail, just can't move anymore.
I agree.
We've always talked about when defensemen sometimes feel like they have to do more, or they feel like they're trying to do more on the ice. Sometimes they struggle at moments. So, that's something to keep an eye on, right? If he feels like I've got to do more with Chara, because even though Andy Green might be weak on the defensive side of the puck, he's a better skater. And when I've got Chara back there, I see moments just like with Nino Niederreiter walking around him like he's a pylon. Like Zdeno Chara's a pylon. There we go. We use that.
It's a turnstile?
No, it's a pylon, Grumpy. It's
actually that one could have been a turnstile because there was a lot of contact.
Oh, Hunter H said Martin made the 4th line come back to life.
Nah, I don't know. I didn't think the 4th line was all like great shakes last night.
Michael T.
Chicago is a bad team too.
Michael T. also saying there, it was Martin's first game back after surgery on his leg or knee or something, ankle. Come on.
Yeah, so I expect that his skating should be better.
Ooh. Islanders for Life said, "Hey, Grumpy, my wife works on a foundation that trains the service dogs. It costs around $50,000 to train and raise each dog. These dogs literally save the lives of military veterans as citizens."
That's true. It's wonderful.
You were wondering if he was even a service dog. I said, yes, he's.
That's what I said. I don't know if he's actually. He looks like a puppy. The other guy, they just threw him out on the ice.
Well, no, they get a new one every year.
Coco.
It's a new
Coco.
This is Coco. Every dog's Coco.
Coco 1, Coco 2.
So this is Coco number 2. But yes, Grumpy, what they do is
I
they
just I,
train
I
them.
just question if they're actually service
They're
dogs.
young. They're young, and they train them into service dogs. And after they become a
Well,
year
these are
old,
legitimate service dogs.
yes, they give them to be used in the community as a service dog.
Oh, I just thought they were mascots. Like just to
No,
come.
every year it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, it's a dog, it's cute, but on top of that, it's going to be a service dog to where we use them when they're cute, they're young, and they're puppies. We train them when they become a year old. I think that's when they go ahead and actually go and they utilize them in the community. They let somebody have the service dog.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. I just didn't know if they were actually legitimate service dogs. They look really young.
Yeah, no, well,
Look like freaking puppies. I know my kid's got a puppy, and believe me, he ain't no damn service dog. He's a killer.
they train the dogs to be service dog.
This dog can't be trained.
They're
He's not,
training them. Your
he's
dog,
not service.
your
Let me tell
dog?
you something. My son's dog is not service dog material.
I bet not.
He's not. He's not.
Michael O'Donnell said, Grumpy is the teacher and we are merely the students. Grumpy, you're right about everything. Tell you, don't fill up his head too much because he won't be able to fit through doors.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Jake K said, Ollie Trolley was the express route last night. Kudos for Sorokin for a great game as well.
Ollie Trolley was on the express route last night.
Who is Grumpy? Now, this is a reference I'm hoping you know.
I don't know that reference. I do not know it. Ollie Trolley.
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you. It's like, it looks like a little hot dog thing, little hot dog stand.
Oh, I thought it was like something like, Thomas the Tank Engine.
Ollie the Trolley. Hey, Grumpy, it's a little hot dog stand, I think. I'll pull it up here for us.
That is pretty cool, though. Let's see
Ollie
it.
Trolley.
Oh, that is pretty neat. Probably serve hot dogs right out of that.
That's what I said. It looks like a hot dog stand.
That's nice. I like that.
Oh, what a film said. The emotional support dogs, Grumpy, they might help you with your Bailey issues. With a little smiley face.
I think I'm beyond help. I feel like I'm Darth Vader right at the end. It's too late for me, my son.
Michael T also said Grumpy needs a Bailey service dog. LOL.
Oh, look at that, a Bailey service dog. I don't think it's possible.
Oh, Grumpy.
That's pretty funny though. I gotta admit, that's pretty funny. I like it.
Yeah. Hey, and
I don't like dogs. I'm not a dog guy. Matter of fact, when my grandson's dog come over, we love the dog, but man, his hair all over the place. I was like, as soon as he leaves, I'm out with the vacuuming everything up. Got to clean him up, shave him down, whatever you got to do. No dogs. Sorry.
Andrew L said, the one plus side is Eberle had a hell of a backhander. For certain he did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to ever rip Jordan Eberle because he totally morphed his game when he came here to fit what the organization wanted, which is kudos to him. But he did have good chemistry with Barzal, but he was just a guy. I mean, there was nothing special about him when he was here. He'd get hot or cold at any different time. And, he helped us in that Pittsburgh series, advanced us in the playoffs however many years ago, just before his contract.
I was about to say he had an outstanding playoffs before his contract. Right.
I always find that interesting when guys don't produce until their contract year. I always worry about guys like that.
Yeah. Well, you've made arguments like that before. That was the one Islander you wanted to sign back during that time period. You didn't want to sign back Brock or Anders. We signed back to all three of them. Brock has been the most successful out of all of them.
What I said was, if we had to sign one guy back, he'd be the only one I'd even consider, because I didn't want any of them back. I didn't want any of the guys who were going to be 30 years old during their contract years coming back. Did not want that. And, Nelson was good for a couple of years. Now he's kind of resorted back to the Nelson of old. Average is, exactly what he's always been, average. And Eberle's gone. So think about how much money you could have saved there.
Andrew also said, yeah, the Sabres still on the road to 82-0. Rich A said, Anders Lee, Matt Barzal, Oliver Wahlstrom. Lee would put up 30-plus goals, would put up 30 goals crashing the net. Wahlstrom would put up 40 goals, and Matt Barzal would have like 60 helpers.
Yeah, you wouldn't see a whole lot of goals from Barzal, but you'd see a boatload from Wahlstrom and Lee.
You would have about 20, 23, maybe 24 goals from Matt Barzal, and you would have at least 60 assists. You're not, that is, you want to talk about a first line. I mean, like, again, we like to the approach of, hey, having balanced lines up and down the ice, so you can't go ahead and single out one line or try to target one line, so it makes it more difficult on opposing teams to go ahead and play against us, and at least against our forward lines. So I think that's maybe another reason why he's keeping Oliver Wahlstrom there on the third line. I think that he is predestined, doesn't matter how well he does, to play probably third line minutes this season, just because, again, as good as he's performing right now, he will have, lulls during his play. And remember, last year, he was a guy who was benched when he didn't perform well. He was benched on a consistent basis. Hey, you had one or two bad shifts out there. We're benching you for the next 8 minutes. Well, that's not the case with the Rounders. If they have a bad shift, they have a bad game, Chara, Andy Green, items like that, you never getting benched.
And that's the one thing that I hate that Barry does.
And it is tougher, I will say, to bench a defenseman as opposed to a forward.
Yes. But the whole thing is, why do you only bench the young guys? Because believe me, the old guys are just as bad, if not worse, on a consistent basis with no upside. But nope, we're going to continue rolling them out there shift after shift, game after game, week after week, month after month, year after year, same cast of characters.
Mikey M said, I wasn't serious about Doug Wade actually happening, but can we get a coach like him for the power play?
Isn't that what Hiller was supposed to be?
Hiller had really good success in Toronto on the power play.
It's the players. It's not the coach. It's not the scheme. It's the players. You don't have the players. Look at the speed and the pace other teams' power plays on. Well, when the Islanders have the right grouping of players out there, our power play is quick. And it's the passes are fast and they're sharp. But when we have the Baileys out there, the Pulaks out there, just slow. Just slow. Just so easy to defend.
Yeah.
So it's like a might game. It's like a might power play.
Yeah, Michael T said, I agree. We have enough good players to be better on the power play. And again, I think you're right. I think, if you had a real legitimate threat to shoot in the Bailey position, right, that looked pass first, but also would not be afraid to pull the trigger and shoot, I think you're looking at a whole different dynamic, right? Josh Bailey, what does he have? Two or three power play goals in the last 183 games, and he plays every single game on the power play. I'm sorry, that's just not. If you could go ahead and look at a power play and you could say, oh, this person's never going to shoot, I don't have to worry about a shot from him. I can kind of cheat. I can always be looking, hey, what's the next option? I'm not worried about Josh Bailey putting the puck on net. I'm not worried about him coming down low to take a shot. I'm always thinking, okay, he's looking for the pass. He's looking for the open avenue. He's looking for the next open player.
When Beauvillier was playing that spot a couple of games ago, he looked good. He was not afraid to shoot the puck. At some point in time, you got to want to shoot the puck on power play. You got a man advantage. Why not shoot the puck occasionally? Just a thought process, Josh Bailey. Something for you to consider.
John P. said that photo was from me 2 years ago with two of my sisters and my late mother. Sorry about the passing there, John P.
Yeah. Oh, see, look at, and yeah, something I can tell because that's John in the middle. He looks really young there. Really young.
Are you saying he doesn't look young now, Grumpy?
I didn't say that. I said he looks really young in that picture.
Scott H. said, why not Sebastian Aho instead of Noah Dobson? That's a head scratcher.
No. Dobson's not the problem. And Aho's a left-handed defenseman. He should be, what should happening, he should be teamed up with Scott Mayfield as an outlet for somebody who can move the puck up the ice. And then you should have Dobson play with the two dinosaurs. Stegosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Alexander saying Josh Bailey is a -3 all 3 games. Bailey reminds me of Oleg Kavasha.
Oh God, Oleg Kavasha. Talk about another freaking trigger.
Oleg Kavasha.
The key piece in the Roberto Luongo deal.
Scott H is saying Wahlstrom with Barzal would be nice to see. That for certain it would.
Sniper with Matt Barzal. Oh, yeah.
We've said it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Anders Lee does a great job of parking himself in front of the net, winning those battles in front of the net with positioning, going ahead and shooting, redirecting shots on net, and going ahead and scoring rebound goals. That is what his bread and butter is. And when you have a guy like Matt Barzal that opens up the space, who doesn't do necessarily a great job of throwing those pucks towards the net and going ahead and allowing Anders Lee to redirect those, and you've got, again, Matt Barzal creating space, you have Oliver Wahlstrom who's got a deadly shot. When he creates that space, Oliver Wahlstrom can go ahead and pick corners. And if he doesn't pick a corner, then you've got Anders Lee who can go ahead and redirect pucks or score those goals on the rebound. All parties would benefit on the first line. Every single party would.
That's right. And what happens if you have Lee parked in front of the net and you have Wahlstrom who moves without the puck? Barzal opens up so much ice just with his style of play, right? He's like a moth. Or he's like the flame, and all the defensemen are like the moths who chase him around, and it opens up an opportunity for a one-timer from Wahlstrom. That's what we said. That's why we wanted Tarasenko, right? Put him as a sniper on that line with Barzal. If not Tarasenko, Wahlstrom.
Absolutely. Brian P. said, TJ intentionally getting rid of the Isles misery quotes.
I find that very, very mysterious myself, because they have a lot of good insight and they never seem to get on here. But his little buddies, TJ's little buddies, yeah, don't worry.
Is that what it is, Grumpy?
I think so.
Oh, come on, Grumpy. Come on, Grumpy.
Okay. You're right, I'm wrong. Sure.
Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Frank K said, come on, Lou. He's about to sign Neil Broughton to play the first line.
Neil Broughton, man, that's another name, blast from the past. Neil Broughton. He was good, though, for a long time. Kind of like Zach Parise.
Oh,
really good back in the day.
Now,
what the heck was that noise?
I've got an image now. What a film said. I sent Grumpy a picture to the Islanders Never Say Die account. Now I'm going to show you this. He's got another picture of his dog. He's got him put there. I think that's a Josh Bailey jersey. Is that punishment for the dog that you put him in the Josh Bailey jersey?
Or that poor dog. Look at him. He is so miserable.
He looks happy.
He's so unhappy. That dog is saying, "Can you put me in the service? Because I cannot wear this." Oh man, that's terrible. That poor animal. Don't do that to the dog.
All jokes, of course, Grumpy old man, correct?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, no, the dog's very unhappy. You can tell.
No, that dog looks like a happy, cheery dog, Grumpy.
He's not smiling. He's wearing a Josh Bailey jersey.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Jokes, obviously. He likes the dog. You like the dog. That looks like a cute dog. If I was getting a dog,
dogs are cute. I'm just not a dog guy. And we love our little dog, my son's dog. But I like to be able to give him back at the end of the day. I rough him up, man. We have a lot of fun, but I just can't live with him.
Nick C said Bailey is the new Eberle. He's next to go. Please stand by.
You know what? Only in my dreams, I'm afraid. I can't wait for them to re-up him.
D-Cut said, TJ saw some pro Isles misery rated R comments and they mysteriously disappeared.
I find it very interesting myself, D-Cut. Very interesting indeed.
I think these are conspiracy theories. I think this is a conspiracy. Brian P said Scott Harris talking about Oliver Wahlstrom playing with Matt Barzal, a world-class playmaker and a young sniper. What a concept. But we know Barry won't let that happen.
Yeah, we talked about that all off season, but Barry's resisting because he's afraid there might be too many goals going in the opposition's net.
Tony Cheese said, here's some good shirt ideas. Sorry, I lost the comments. Good gracious, Grump. What's a power play goal? UBS equals AARP. And I'll be right back, Grump, with a picture of a cup and a straw. Oh, man. I was going to say, I'm about to take a screenshot of that. Those are some good ideas there, Tony.
No, those shirts aren't going to sell, though. How much I can tell you.
Hey, Grumpy, who the heck knows? You never know. Oh, goodness gracious. Races fan Rocks 4 said, who is ready for a new wrestler to show up on NHL on TNT?
The AEW wrestlers. That's Cody Rhodes' group. I think Cody runs the group, and Dustin is in there. Dusty's two kids. Kind of a throwback to the way wrestling used to be, not whatever it is now in the WWE. It would not surprise if there was a little cross promotion there at some point in time. I know the AEW would love it.
Oh man, Grumpy. I've got some. Alexander has sent us some funny ones that'll make you happy about Josh Bailey, Grumpy old man.
Good.
We've got these are going to make you very, very, very happy. I'm sure. He's got Josh Bailey. What exactly do you do here?
Perfect.
Islanders fans, while watching Josh Bailey, little
That
head,
it is often like that. Yes.
and then Josh Bailey finally scores. Thinks he won the cup.
And that was like in I think a beer league game.
Oh, come on.
What was the league that Brock Nelson was in earlier this year? What was it called?
The Beauty League.
That's what it
They're
was.
all in the Beauty League. Brock Nelson was in the Beauty League. They all play in the Beauty League over the summer.
Yeah. Kiefer Bellows was lighting it up too. He's got just as many goals as Brock Nelson does. I don't know anybody saying anything about him. He's been invisible this year too. Except for one game. He did score a goal.
Brian P said, me and Grump definitely don't agree with all the Lou Lamoriello ass kissing. He gets way too much credit.
Yeah, what has he won? What have we won? I mean, realistically, what has this team won? And I'm not, because here's the thing, Lou and Barry brought respectability back to this organization, no doubt. But what have we won, TJ? What have we won? We haven't. Have we won a division title?
We have not.
Have we won an Eastern Conference championship?
We have not.
Have we won a Stanley Cup?
We did in 1984.
So the answer is no. So we won nothing. But they, you know what? Lou's playing third degree, 3D checkers, 3D chess, and everybody else is playing, tiddlywinks. No. I mean, how do you win GM of the year when you don't make any moves?
Well, they did make moves. They did make moves, Grumpy old man. They did.
Trading away all your draft picks?
I'm sorry. I said 84. I meant 83 was the last time I won the cup.
Sure.
He made good moves at the trade deadline, right? I honestly, the first year, I couldn't tell you how the hell he won General Manager of the Year, because that is supposed to be an item that's voted on before the playoffs start, right? And we had that truncated odd season, and we had lost, I think it was 7 of our last 7 games 2 seasons ago. We would not have made the playoffs if, let's say, the season ended right there. So I don't, again,
he traded for Pajot, who didn't do anything.
For the 7 games he was there before the regular season had ended. So I never had understood how he won the first time. I'm like happy, obviously, but it wasn't like, hey, I mean, last year or 2 years or 3 seasons ago, right? We took that team that was miserable, never could make the playoffs, and Barry Trotz overnight changed that immediately. And I don't know.
And he brought in Andy Green. He brought in 37-year-old at that time, Andy Green. That got him GM of the year.
I could understand if they voted on GM of the year after the playoffs, how he would win General Manager of the Year, but they vote on it before the playoffs begin. So I never really quite grasp it. But I think, honestly, this is like paying homage to him, because they used to not have GM of the Year, and he used to be a very he's a great general manager. Don't get me wrong, right? We nitpick certain things that we're not a big fan of, but he's done a fantastic job overall as a general manager here. You're not going to see anybody argue against that.
Yeah. Why don't we just call it the Lou Lamoriello Award? Then we don't have to give it to him.
Oh, Jan M said, "Hey guys, last night's first period was a gong show, and our defense has been, an issue. Not the goaltender, but it was nice to see us battle through it. Will the merch be available to ship up here in Canada?" Yeah, so we're going to be using a drop shipper to where they're going to take the orders. We're going to create what it will be on. So we could do anything like t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, anything and everything. So if there's a certain type of item you like, you can have the merchandise available on it through multiple different facets. So you'll have plenty of options. But yeah, I don't think there's any issue at shipping up there to Canada.
And we're trying to have some fun with the designs too.
Here's the thing, this is not something we're trying to really make money on. We're just trying to make sure that the quality and the product looks good. And again, we pass it along to the cheapest price, so you guys have a good, an Islanders Never Say Die podcast, memorabilia or some type of shirt, because hey, it took us way too long to get these out, admittedly. So
that's right, TJ.
Rodney L said, Wally looked great last night. Bellows was lost. Has no clue on the defensive side of the center.
I agree for the most part.
What a film saying he would buy those shirts, Tony. Yeah, I thought they were good ideas, Grumpy. I think I'll be right back with a little straw
again.
No, Grumpy, maybe there might be another time before the end of
Dude,
the podcast.
catheterize yourself to get through the podcast. How many times you got to
Jeez.
go to the bathroom? All right. Well, what else? You got to put something else up there.
No. I'm not saying right now. I'm just saying later on there might be a time when I come back. I'm just saying those are the shirt ideas.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I thought you meant you had to get up again to go to the bathroom.
No promises, Grump. That might happen again.
Oh,
There's no promises, man. Oh,
terrible.
Andrew L said, "Why not healthy scratch Bailey for Bellows?" No,
Well,
I
because
want Bellows to succeed. Bailey's better than Bellows.
They're the same player. Neither one of them did anything last night.
What?
Josh Bailey has done nothing this season. Nothing. I don't hear anybody screaming for his head except for me. He's been a wasteoid. We don't need him on this team. You want to know why St. Louis wouldn't have made that deal? Because they would have got to take Josh Bailey back. He's a minus. Not only you losing Tarasenko, you have to bring in Bailey. Talk about a double hit your team is taking. Come on.
And then we got Tony Cheese saying, Bailey goes hungry on Sundays because he's not even invited to Sunday dinner. I love it.
His mom won't invite him anymore. He's like, Josh, sorry.
Maybe when we go large.
Your dinner.
Tony Cheese saying, has anybody seen my hair plugs?
Oh, I don't know if he's talking about you or himself.
No, he's talking about me, grumpy old man. He's got it all shaved up. Brian P said, was Peter Marion or Anton better? Obviously.
Stastny's. Marion was pretty good too. Anton, I think, was the least of the three. I thought Marion was the best, wasn't he? Marion Stastny? I'd have to look up their stats. I'm not quite sure what I think Anton was the lesser of the three. For some reason, I don't know which one it was. Now you got me thinking. I thought it was Marion.
I'll go ahead and pull it up for us here in a second.
Okay. There's Alexander saying, shout out to Islanders Misery Rated R. And Alexander, seems like there's a little jump in his typewriter today because there is a rumor that Deshaun Watson could be traded to the Miami Dolphins by the end of the week. Don't know if it's true or not, but I know that's going to make Alexander happy, and we can talk about that tomorrow on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man Show. I'm sure that topic will absolutely come up.
Peter Stastny, grumpy old man, 977 games played, 1,239 points.
Okay. And what was Marion Stastny?
Marion Stastny, give me a sec here, 322 games played, 294 points.
It was Peter. Okay. And then Anton was the least, or was I just so wrong that Anton Stastny, where is he? How many?
Anton Stastny, 650 games, 636.
Okay, I was the exact opposite of what it was. I thought Anton was the worst. Peter was second, and Marion. No, Marion was the worst. Well, his name was Marion, so whatever.
What do you expect, right? He was set up for failure. Robert G said, wasn't the crowd in Chicago quiet last night? It was like a cemetery at the United Center. I did think their crowd was like, I was like, oh shit. Like back during the Joe Quenneville days, it was hostile territory playing the Chicago Blackhawks in Chicago. I didn't feel that way at all last night either.
That's when your team sucks. There's not anything to cheer about. And it seemed like they were pumped up when they finally scored that goal with 34 seconds left. They did seem pretty excited. I hate that song. When they were winning, I hated it. How many times you got to hear that a day?
It's just like, honestly, it's just like the Kings where Cartman every single time. Because I actually did. I was talking with our buddies from the LA Kings podcast, and they said that the creators of South Park are big LA King fans. So every time they go, let's go Kings, and it's that terrible freaking voice. I'm like, oh my God. It's like hearing that over and over and over again.
Well, in Los Angeles, you have to have, if somebody wants to be your fan, you have to accept them. I'm sorry.
Oh, fair enough, because the team's not that great. Brian P said TJ never gets all the excellent movie and show references by Grumpy, but I get them. TJ needs to study up. Yeah. I'll be honest, there's sometimes I see those quotes, Grumpy old man, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I pray to God Grumpy knows what this is. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm reading this correctly. I just have to hope and pray. I'm living on a prayer, hoping Grumpy gets it.
Most times you read them incorrectly, and then I have to read them correctly and then reference it. I don't even know why you're here on this show, honestly.
Oh my goodness, Grumpy old man. Oh goodness gracious. Oh, Grumpy. Man, oh man.
Goodness gracious, Grumpy. There's a T-shirt for you.
Goodness gracious, Grumpy. John P. sending me pictures of catheters. He's saying, "Here you go, TJ. This is what you could use. That for certain I can." Oh
No,
man.
he said John said I had that poster in my room.
Oh, I'll have to pull that up. Give me a sec here, Grumpy. Brian P said Heather Thomas from TJ Hooker with Lee Majors from the back in the days was my favorite.
Yeah, Heather Thomas. She was another hottie patati on the TJ Hooker show. I don't think it was Lee Majors. Wasn't it William Shatner who was on TJ Hooker? I thought it was William Shatner.
Didn't he go into space or something like that soon?
No, he's freaking old.
No, I kid you not. William Shatner is going to space sometime soon. He either did or is about to. And that guy, George Takei, was shitting all over his day.
George Takei?
Yeah, George Takei was not happy. So he did something. They had some sort of falling out. I've got to pull it up. I'm pretty sure William Shatner is going to space.
He's 90. He's like 90. I don't know how you even pass that test. I mean, you have to pass some type of physical test, don't you? Unless they just want to kill old people. And what do? You shoot them up in a rocket ship. They come back dead. I mean, is that the way you want it to be?
Here it is, Grumpy. Here it is for you, Grumpy old man. How the hell do I know this and you're not up on this? Maybe because it was on the internet. Space.com. William Shatner, the oldest astronaut at 90 years old. Here has this space tourism could affect older people. Hey, he went to space.
I don't know. The G-forces are pretty intense.
He goes into space on the Blue Origin flight.
Oh, my God. Well, good for him. Good for him.
George Takei did not. He was not a big fan of it. Again, there's apparently some beef between the two. I have no idea what it was, but on like an internet drama, I happened to see that pop up.
George Takei seems a little jealous.
Oh yeah,
I know they had some type of squabble years ago. I forgot what it was about. I used to know what it is, but I don't. It was a long time ago too.
Frank or John P. talking about. I had that poster in my room. Talking about that poster.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, everybody did. Shit, that was the poster to have. Look at John's even looking young there too. I don't know. There's probably some type of fuzzy filter on his camera.
Oh, it makes him look young. The fuzzy filter.
You know, like they make you look younger.
Grumpy can use about 2 or 3 of those filters if you catch my drift.
5.
Oh, okay.
You remember the show Friends? You remember that, TJ?
Here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of Friends. Not a fan. Could give 2 shits. I was not a fan of Friends at all. Not a fan.
All I said was, do you remember the show Friends?
Yeah, I've seen an episode or 2.
Okay, there was a joke, which I still find hilarious to this day. Monica, who played Ross's sister, Courtney Cox, was the actress. Pretty girl. In the show, she supposedly, when she was younger, she was really overweight. And they showed some old videos of her. And they go, oh, wow, look at how big you were, Monica. He says, well, they say the camera puts 10 pounds on you. And Chandler, who she wound up marrying, winds up saying, well, how many cameras were on you that day? And I just thought that was hilarious. Of course, it's funnier if I don't have to explain it like that, but certainly very, very funny.
I'm glad you're explaining it for me, Grumpy old man.
That's why I hate having to explain it because it loses its effect.
Noah W says, Grumpy old man, your guy Bellows looked meh last night. Didn't do anything great, but wasn't a liability.
Okay. I don't know if you can read this. I don't know if you can read this. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to post this up. I have here Bellows. Let me see if Bellows meh. That's what I have. So it's so funny that Noah said that because that was exactly what I had for him last night. Just meh. He didn't do anything. Wasn't a great liability. The one play leaving his man, and like I said, it looked like he was covering for Chara, but he didn't stand out. And unfortunately for us, it's better for the team if he shows something, right? It means that we have somebody that we can put in there if there are injuries, or somebody who could take someone else's job because he's just performing better, and he didn't do the job last night. It just kind of is what it is. I'm still rooting for him. I just don't think that Barry cares enough to play him unless there's an injury. He's just not in our plans. And that, to me, is just kind of frustrating because he's never been given a legitimate chance to make this team or become a starter. That's what you have to do with young guys. You have to live with their mistakes till they have time to develop into the players that they're eventually going to be. And that's not something I feel Barry trusts any of our young players in. Dobson, he did. only because he was a high draft pick. But think about how he sheltered his minutes the last couple of years. Never put him in high leverage situations. How do you learn unless you're in those situations? That's what we need to do going forward.
Oh, Grumpy, man, you stalled long enough. Thank you so much. Whew.
Can't believe you had to go to the bathroom again.
Oh,
Again.
hey, you gotta stay hydrated, Grump.
Get a cup. Well, you're not staying hydrated if you're peeing it all out every 2 minutes. So what are you gonna do? Chug another bottle from the fire hydrant and then have to go to the bathroom again?
You're supposed to, I think, drink 1 fluid ounce for every pound of body weight you have. I'm a big guy, Grump. I'm like 250 pounds. I got to drink 250 fluid ounces of water.
Bodybuilders say, hey, you're holding too much water, right? Well, not TJ. I don't know how much you're holding, about probably 2 or 3 gallons. Jeez.
I'm not a bodybuilder, Grump.
We know.
Frank Hay said, I think she sadly had the 70s Forest turn off.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Farrah Fawcett, maybe? I don't know. Christopher C. said, lots of Islanders fans want Chara to retire, but TJ Grumpy, be real. Do you really want him to retire? Do you ever think that Chara wants to continue because he loves playing the game? That's my opinion.
Yeah, and it's the same reason that Jágr wouldn't quit as well. And he played, and I think he's still playing over in...
He's playing in the Czechoslovakia #2 league for the team that he owns, and he puts up like a point a game.
I mean, yeah, it's not a great league, but he loves playing hockey, and so does Chara. Does Chara.
I think he's a guy that doesn't want to quit. He doesn't want to step that. He doesn't want to step away if he can avoid that. That being said, I don't want him to retire per se. I think Zdeno Chara would work really well in small doses, and playing.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Zdeno Chara hold that Stanley Cup over his head for us. That's what I'd love to see. Wouldn't that be great?
I think it'd be a perfect ending to his story, and he does not have to play another shift ever again if that's how it ends. And, it would be every Islander fan would absolutely love that. And I mean, love that. That being said, I think
here's another thing.
In small doses, just not an everyday type of thing for him.
And he could help Josh Bailey hold it over his head as well. I don't think Josh.
It's going to be like when the father helps out a young child where he's holding over his head and Josh Bailey just is like, hey, look at this, Dad. I'm doing it. Look at me. I'm doing it, Dad.
Yeah, the little weak one. Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. And D-Cut saying TJ's got an 80-year-old bladder.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You should get that checked out.
Rich A said, who are we sitting on the right side to put Hammer in the lineup? I don't think Hammer.
I just don't see that happening anyway.
I
don't see that happening.
Scott L said, Grumpy, you don't have an answer on a Hamnick situation? We all thought you were Grumpstradamus.
I said I don't think it's happening. Would he want to come here? Would he not?
Well, now with the COVID stuff, I found that was more COVID related. I don't think.
Well, his thing, he won't be allowed to come to this team.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, there's no way with their stance with Bodie Wild that you could ever bring someone on this team who has not been vaccinated. No way. Can't do it. You drew that line in the sand, and that's fine. That's your prerogative. But you can't bring somebody else in who hasn't been.
I always wondered, just to play like a mental game, just to think to myself, okay, let's assume that, because here's the thing, I don't think Tyler Bertuzzi is vaccinated. Like I think some teams are allowing non-vaccinated players to play, and some teams aren't. I have to do more. Here's the thing, like with the vaccines and I hear so much about it. I'm like, man, it drives. I'm like, I can't hear too much about it. Hockey's my escape. I try to avoid, all the real world things when I look at hockey and I watch hockey. So anytime I get bombarded with them, I go, man, this is my escape. I need to get out of the real world when I talk and watch hockey.
Yeah. I think there's only a few players who've not been vaccinated.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I've been vaccinated.
Scott H. saying, how do I message or send TJ a message? If you do it on the Facebook page, I think there should be a message. I'll be able to see it. It'll pop up for me.
Brian, don't ask me, Scott. I have no idea.
If you hit message to send to the Islanders Never Say Die or Islanders Never Say Die Facebook page, I'll get it. Brian P said, it's time for the fan base to let go of the fourth line. Let's not bring back Clutterbuck. He's a warrior, but he's got a ton of miles on him. I agree.
True. At some point in time, you have to cut the cord.
Jeremy Ford said, if Salo doesn't get in this year or next October at the worst, does he go back to Europe next year? How much longer does Aho stick around?
I
Good
think that
question.
I'll tell you what, Jeremy asks some really good pointed questions. Have you ever noticed?
I do. I notice.
I mean, everybody hates Josh Bailey except for Michael T. Um, but yeah, I mean, I first of all, I think that Salo will be up with the big team next year.
I think they like Salo.
I do as well. I think that he's someone that they want to give a chance to. And he might even play some by the end of this year. That's what my hope is. He gives us some youth back there, somebody who can move a little bit, somebody, who can play defense. So, Barry should love him. And he spoke very, very highly of him. So, I mean, I'd love to see him play.
I've heard him speak that some players are top 6 players, but they've got issues they've got to sort first. So I've heard him say that too before. So
Yeah, I know.
I do think with Robin Salo though, and in their ideal scenario when they went into the season, they were hoping and praying that Zdeno Chara and Andy Green could help the team get to the NHL trade deadline. And at the NHL trade deadline, they can make a trade for Hampus Lindholm. They can make a trade for some sort of left-handed defenseman that had 1 year left on his contract, expiring deal, so they could hopefully get him cheaper. And then they can run a rotation between Andy Green and Zdeno Chara at the end of the year. Whoever was playing best, whoever had a hot hand would play, those nights. I think that's ideally what they wanted to have happen. I don't think in their situation they ever envisioned sliding a Robin Salo into the lineup. I think they wanted him to be down in the A for the full year. I've always believed that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, they certainly want to get some experience in the A, but he will play for the Islanders, hopefully sooner rather than later. I really feel that. As opposed to Aho, I just think that's when he's an unrestricted free agent, he'll be gone.
Tony Chi is saying, sorry guys, got to be up early. Looking forward to the Islanders game. Watch along. Remind us when you're doing it and have a good night. Well, thanks there, Tony Cheese. I don't know when we're going to do the Islanders watch along. I feel like that's going to be one of those we do in addition. So we're going to have to look at Grumpy and I's schedule so we can do that. It's just going to be a special thing. I don't think we're going to upload that to the podcast format. I'm not sure how it works. So I think we're just going to do it live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter when we do it. I'm not sure we're going to upload that like as a podcast. So it'd just be a special little item for people who watch live and items like that. So. But we'll let you guys know, Tony Cheese. We got to talk with Grumpy Old Man. We'll let you guys know plenty of days /games/weeks in advance. Brian Pete, Grumpy, you know what? On the spot, I don't know what day is the first game at UBS Arena. Maybe we could go live the first game at UBS Arena during the game.
We'll see.
That's a suggestion. That's a suggestion for you. You're hearing it from me here. Brian P said Lundkrantz is a Jag.
True.
One in the million says, as happy as I was to see Bellows play, it was odd to go from scratch to the first line and probably scratched again. LOL.
Yeah. Well, that's because Barry doesn't really like him and doesn't trust him. Those are just facts.
Michael T said, shoot the puck, Bailey. Shoot the puck.
Shoot the puck, Bailey. Shoot the puck.
Oh, thanks for deciphering. I really wasn't sure what that. I thought it was just like, okay, I'm glad, Grumpy, you got it. I don't get emojis sometime. I apologize. It confused me. Mikey M said, Bailey's good in the playoffs, and that's clutch.
You know what? No.
Scott Levy says, I wish I was related to Steve Levy. I'm not, though. Sorry.
Yeah, Levy with an I is Steve Levy.
Gotcha. Paul O.C. said Sorokin played good, kept us in until we took the game to them. Big save on a shorthanded breakaway, too. For certain it was.
Yeah. And then, like I said, after that the first goal shook them a little bit, and we kind of righted the ship after that. And after the second goal, they just imploded. They have no confidence as a team, none.
Michael T. said, how about a first line of Matt Barzal, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, and Oliver Wahlstrom?
Can't put two centers on that first line.
I think if you, I like our center depth too. I'm not sure who would be a center for us if we were to remove him. I think Cole Bardreau is the next one to step up, but I don't want Cole Bardreau playing a third line center role. That's for certain.
No,
I'm happy with Jean-Gabriel Pageau playing his role as a third line center. Again,
I'd put Pageau as a second line center and give him another winger up top who can score with. I'd love to see that.
So what you're suggesting, demoting Brock Nelson to the third line center?
Yeah, put him and Bailey on the third line.
What type of blasphemy are you talking about?
If I could kick them off the team altogether, I would.
Do not talk badly of my boy Brock Nelson. Don't do that. I'm not going to let you do that. Don't do
Okay.
it. He's performed well. Third line. The son of a gun produces like an 82-game season, 60 points a season. That's perfect for a second line center. Perfect.
Has he ever scored 60 points in a season?
Grump, why are you going to make me pull this
Has
up?
has he ever scored 60 points in a season? You say it like he's
I
done
said
it.
he produces on a 60-point a season clip. Remember the truncated shortened season.
Has he ever scored 60 points in a season?
He's been in the mid 50s.
So no. So the answer is no. Okay, because it's not a 6. A 6 is a number like this with a little circle at the bottom. If the first one doesn't start with that,
points. I said he's produced on 60 points of a full season before, right? In the 2019-2020 season, he had 54 points in 68 games, right? If he played an 82-game season, he would have had 60 points.
But they didn't. And
Jesus.
So he's never scored 60 points. Okay, I just wanted clarification. That's all. He's never scored 60 points. Okay.
Have an aneurysm.
How many points does he have this year so far?
I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
Is he on a 60-point pace this year? Probably not.
I'm gonna have an aneurysm, Brump. They only played 3 games. He's got 1 point.
Well, he scored 2 points. He should be a 60-point a year guy, just as if you extrapolate it all the way out.
So I'm guessing that Oliver Wahlstrom's going to be 82 goals this season. 82 goals.
You're the one who wants to carry that. I just say what the guys actually do. Not what they could have, should have, would have. You know who does that? The Inquirer does that. They love to do that. They love to play these stats out over an 82-game season, even if they only played 14 games. Well, guess what? That's not the way it works in the real world, sunshine.
Paulo C said Wahlstrom is going to be a scorer. I can see his quick release stats for certain.
True.
Brian P said 100% agree. Grump, I've called for Beauvillier, Barzal, and Wahlstrom since last year. Lee, Nelson, Palmieri, and Bellows, Pajot, and Bailey.
I'd rather have Nelson with Bailey and Lee because of the chemistry they've shown in the past. Bellows, Pajot, and Palmieri, and I'd almost make them the second line. It doesn't really matter. It's whoever gels best. But I like Pajot with somebody who can skate, and Palmieri can do that. I love when TJ does that. It means he's read something that I'm not privy to.
I've read something. D-Cut said the best part of this episode is Phil's Facts wasn't a guess. I need to stay up past 11.
Wow.
Phil's Facts is I tell you.
Oh, D-Cut loves Phil's Facts.
Phil's Facts is a great sport.
That's hilarious. I love it when we have, one of our favorites, D-Cut on the show, ripping another one of our favorites, Phil's Facts. It's hilarious.
Hey, it makes for this is a fun show where you rip us, we rip you. It's like a friendly, it's like friends at the bar just talking and having a good time.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
We all know, hey,
nobody takes anything serious.
No, we're all friends. I'd grab a beer with any one of you guys. Brian P said, no, but hey, Wahlstrom has scored 3 goals in 3 games. How dare he be sent to the bench? How dare he be benched?
Well, because that's the way Barry goes. That's the way he rolls. If Wahlstrom goes 5 games without scoring, you'll hear it from the cartel. Oh, was he just a flash in the pan? Of course, Josh Bailey that time will have 1 shot on goal, 0 goals, 0 assists, -8. Won't say anything about him.
It would take Josh Bailey going 25 games without a goal for them to say, oh, Josh Bailey, he's had 0 goals and 2 assists in a 25-game stretch. Oh, maybe he needs to pick up his play. He went like 18 games without a goal. 18 games without a goal, a top 6 forward.
I thought it was 37 games in a row without a goal. Maybe it was 137 games without a goal.
I thought it's his entire career. Has he ever scored a goal in his career?
There was a ridiculous amount of games that he went without a goal. It was more than 18. I swear I thought it was close to 30.
No, if anybody remembers the exact number, let us know. I'll try to find and scour the internet for it. Mikey M said, look at Bailey's skates. Every time the Islanders are bad, I'll admit it, Bailey is very responsible. But when they're good, when they're a good team playing well, he's definitely a part of it. Check the stats or look at Grumpy's stats. Playoff stats are great. That's for certain. Again, his playoff stats have been fantastic the last 2 years. When he's playing well, when Bailey's playing well, he looks fantastic out there. And again, it's almost like a shock. Grumpy even says if Bailey played like that every night, I never had a bad word to say about Josh Bailey.
Right, but the whole thing is he doesn't create. It's not like Josh Bailey's
a facilitator. He's a facilitator. He's a passer, and he's got great vision, and he makes really nice passes. That's what his bread and butter is.
Yeah, he's just not a difference maker. I know he's put up some good stats in the playoffs, but to me, he's a result of what the team does. It's not like he produces the result. It's hard for me to explain. There's a certain phraseology that I can't remember at this time, honestly. But he just benefits from everybody else doing their job, and he just happens to be there for tap-ins. I mean, there's nothing special about Josh Bailey. Nothing.
So I've got it pulled up in 2014, Grumpy. You're right. Josh Bailey, I think, went 37 games without a goal.
37 freaking games without a goal. Think about that. It's almost impossible unless you're Josh Bailey to go 37 games without a goal. His career high for goals in a season, 18. 18. And he gets a boatload of power play time.
This is not 2014, no. It's not 2014.
How many goals did he have last year?
Okay, it's a shortened season. I'll pull it up, but I love reading the headline. I had forgotten, right? You forget those things. I thought it was like 18 or 20 games of that, a goalless streak. 37 games.
Never benched. Never sent to the bench.
Maybe it was 2013. I'm not sure which was a long goalless streak, but man, oh man, yeah. As always playing a top 6 role, yikes.
It could be any year USA with that guy.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. I would love for Josh Bailey once to have a 20-goal season just so I could shove that shit in your face, Grump.
Well, good luck there.
I don't think he'll ever have.
He's only been in the league 12, 13 years now. That ain't happening.
Oh, man.
Because guess what? He's another guy who doesn't get better with age.
Maybe you'll find some tap-in goals. I don't know, Grumpy. Goodness gracious. Mikey M saying here, I also agree we don't bench, and that's one problem we have with Trotz. He's too attached to the vets. He needs to make just a little bit of youth in. Chara and Green should not be playing on the same game. I agree.
Right, Mikey. You're 100% right. But here's the thing. It's not what Barry's going to do. And honestly, Lou should have a conversation with them saying, hey, we need to transition away from, a team that's the oldest in the league at some point in time. How about we loosen the reins a little bit on some of these young guys, Barry? What do you say?
Give the kids a chance. Phil's Facts went ahead and made a comment. He said, yeah, Vladimir Tarasenko doesn't look too happy out there. Let's move him in for the Islanders and trade away Josh Bailey. So
I love that deal. I would be all for that deal.
Yeah. Brian P said, I told Maureen, his girlfriend, he said, or maybe fiance, he said, next time you can't sleep, I've got a remedy for her.
I don't know what the hell he's even talking about.
He's talking about Phil's Facts.
Oh shit! Now hold on.
It's a little tag team.
Phil's taking some unwarranted punishment here.
Hey, we love Phil. They love Phil too. One of the million said, can't stand Josh Hosang.
Neither could Barry or Lou. So, hey, you're not the only one in that boat.
Oh, man, Grumpy. Man, oh, man. Paul O.C. said, yes, Grumpy, I would put Wallstrom with Barzal or with Barzal and Beauvillier, but I'd keep Lee on the line there because his big body. Because I think that Beauvillier on the second line would put with Palmieri and Pajot.
I'm not opposed to that either. I would love to see some juggling of the lines. We don't score enough where you can say, hey, these lines are just set in stone. I mean, we just don't. There's nothing wrong with mixing them up. Like I said, a young guy makes a mistake, no problem mixing up the line that night. But old guys, nope, gonna ride them till we die.
What a film said, well, I did hang the Bailey jersey on the wall, and we won it in a contest, Grumpy. So maybe it's a sign.
Okay. He didn't say anything about a contest.
And we won, Grumpy. Oh, I hung it.
What I'm saying is, it's like a superstition thing. Well, listen here, Woody. Let me tell you something. Continue doing that.
Continue to hang it on the wall.
I don't live in your house, so I wouldn't have liking to have some type of spasm every time I saw it. So do it. I do it.
What a film said, yeah, thanks for bringing up the picture, TJ, and you grumpy. Yeah, Charlie, dog's name, wasn't happy wearing a jersey. Love you guys.
Here's the thing. Most dogs don't like to be dressed up like humans. I'm just going to say that. There's a reason why they don't wear clothes.
Yeah, I don't think any animal likes that.
No,
Some of them tolerate it, some don't.
That's their their little friends who own them. That's their thing. I love it when women try to dress, the dogs up, put little silly little hats on them. Like, yeah, the dog loves that. You could just tell they're miserable.
Mikey M saying, also, I hated Bailey and wanted him gone. I don't even like when he signed his big contract after the first good season, but he's improved and not complete trash, as Grumpy says, and as he knows.
I don't know. He looks pretty miserable to start this year once again. Totally underperforming.
Well, Grumpy.
I think there's fans who like Josh Bailey, and then there's fans like me who absolutely despise him, and never the twain shall meet.
Michael T playing a troll saying, just out of curiosity, how has, in the only 3 to 4 games into the season, but how's Tarasenko doing? Yeah, I think he's played. Yeah. What a film saying Tarasenko 1 assist in 2 games. He sucks. Well, Michael T says.
Here's the thing, though. He's got quite a few shots on goal, though. He's not afraid to shoot the puck. Can't score if you don't shoot the puck. Just ask Josh Bailey. I think he went 37 games without taking a shot.
No, he didn't go 37 games. He went 37 games out of the goal. Not 37
I don't
games.
think he took a shot either.
Oh, come on. I'll be interested to see how Vladimir Tarasenko does this season. That's for certain. Again, you're going to see really quickly, hey, is his shoulder never going to be the same, or is this guy back to the way he used to be? He's taking a lot of shots. And again, St. Louis has scored a lot of goals.
He's playing with Robert Thomas, and I forgot the other winger he's playing with. But he's not playing. He's not playing on the fourth line. That much I can tell you.
Robert Thomas. Yeah, why the heck does that name sound familiar?
He's left wing.
Okay. He's a younger guy too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he plays on the second line, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then Alexander saying there, great game between the Knicks and the Celtics going into double overtime.
Okay.
Scott H said, Grump, we won, being relevant again.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. Like I said,
what have we won? What have we won? He said, we're being relevant again. That's what we want.
I want to win Stanley Cups, Scott. That's what I'm about. I want to win cups. I'm all about winning cup.
Louis C. said, Josh Bailey is a waste of space. Grumpy speaks the truth when he hammers on him. And the fact that Trotz continues to wheel him out there on the power play despite non-existent performances beyond me. Please continue to tell it like it is, Grump.
Thank you. And here's the thing. I see that picture there, and look at that dog is attacking Louis.
No, they look like they're hugging.
It looks like he's trying to kill him. Looks like he's getting ready to bite his head off.
It looks like, what is that, like a boxer or something like that? Just chilling. He's just relaxing, hugging him.
It's a big dog, and it looks like he's trying to smother Louis. I feel bad for Louis. Louis, I will get you help.
Brian P. said, it's early, but I think the Flyers are dangerous. They put up another 6th spot, and they've got 16 goals in 3 games.
What I tell you, I hate the Flyers. I despise the Flyers. That's why I fear them. There's no team in sports I hate more than the Philadelphia Flyers. None. Any sport, any team, Philadelphia is the worst. I rooted for the Russians over the Flyers. Think about that. Think about that for a second. The communist Russians, I rooted for them over the Philadelphia Flyers.
It's early into the season, too. Cam Atkinson, the offseason trade there for Voracek in 3 games. He's got 3 goals and an assist. It's early yet. Yeah,
but he's the type of guy that they needed. They went away from their style a little bit, which was, they're a grit team like we are, honestly. And they're really another team really good on the forecheck. Remember, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, TJ, we couldn't beat the Flyers to save our lives. They absolutely owned us.
That was a few years back. That's before.
It was a few years back, but I used to hate it because of playing the Flyers is a freaking loss. And, they went away from that style that they've always played, and now they seem like they're getting back to it with the offseason acquisitions. I told you they concerned me because they are kind of altering their chemistry a little bit, and I felt it was more in the Philadelphia Flyer style of hockey. So far, it's paid off for them. I think they're 2-0-1 through 3 games.
Alexander said, any good names at the possibility of the trade deadline? Oh, way too early. Way too early to be talking about that, I think, Alexander. Way too early.
Yeah, let's talk about Deshaun Watson tomorrow.
Oh, Brian B said Bailey is useless. Just getting his
I,
little
I,
Bailey.
I even think that's overestimating his talents. I think he's less than useless.
B Cut said TJ knows if the Three Amigos, the Fire Hydrant, or College Quinn shirts, they'd sell like hotcakes, but they'd have to give the Islanders Misery Rated R some
Some
credit.
credit. That's right. Yes.
Oh
True.
man, oh man. Let me
True.
put you like this. If we ever produced the Three Amigos shirt, we thought about it, but we just weren't sure how to make it a reality yet with like the imaging and everything like that design wise. But again, if we ever were to do something like that, D-Cut, you'll get a shirt because I know you came up with that. That's for certain.
Oh, thanks. That's what D Cut wants to hear. It's like, yeah, I came up with the name, I came up with the idea, and all I got was a T-shirt. Okay.
All I got was this lousy T-shirt.
Yeah, we're making sure that we don't do anything where we have to worry about copyright infringement or anything like that. Here's the thing, honestly, we're not businessmen. I'm not a businessman.
Neither am I.
So I'm not looking to get in trouble with anybody. So everything has to be kind of,
Very original.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you'll understand what we're saying, but it's like we're not going to have, like, for Maddie and the Jags, we're not going to have Matt Barzell's picture on there.
That's for sure. Paulo C said, guys, I think the playoff format will be top 8 in each conference make the division, not top 4 in each division. It's the top 3 in each division, and you got the 2 wild card teams, which can come from either division of the conference. So you could have 5 teams make it from the Atlantic. You can have 5 teams make it from the Metro, but that would mean that 3 teams would make it in the Atlantic and 3 teams would make it from the Metro.
I do have some good news when it comes to the playoff picture after 3 games. It looks like Montreal is not going to be a threat to make the playoffs.
Oh, I tell you, Montreal's struggling. Montreal looks rough. They look bad. They look like they're struggling. And again, we thought, hey, the Atlantic is tough. I think there's no way in hell Montreal makes the playoffs. We said that in our preseason predictions.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's some of the negative. Washington and Pittsburgh, what's the thing that Twain said? The all reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated.
All reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Okay.
Yeah. They're not dead right now. Neither one. Looking good.
Alexander saying Bellis needs to play more, and Brian B saying Martin Parise are finished next year or should be. Bellows should get a look maybe then.
I think they're going to move Bellows. I don't think they have any interest in keeping him. I just don't think. I think TJ. I hate to agree with you, but I think you are correct. TJ just read a great comment. I can tell, but I think they would use him as a sweetener to get a defenseman.
Andrew L said, kind of embarrassing for you, TJ. Grumpy has 20 plus years on you and still hasn't gone to the bathroom more than once in the history of the podcast.
That's true. And how many years? I got a well over 20 years over you.
BP saying TJ's a PM mofo.
Oh, shit. I think I have 30 years on TJ, over 30 years on TJ.
Yeah.
I just look pretty, so it just looks like 20.
What a film saying, your bladders age poorly. You're going to have to wear diapers when your Grumpy's age, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's embarrassing.
Little Film said, on the bright side, while Barzal and Wallstrom are a ton of fun to watch, and Sorokin might turn out to be something special.
Yes. The only guys I'm interested in are the young guys. The old guys, come on. There's nothing special about them. But yes, Barzal, we have a fantastic individual player, just creates for everybody. Wallstrom, a fantastic shooter. Noah Dobson, a little bit more urgency, please, Noah. Could be a rock on the defense for years to come, along with Pulak and Pelech. And Sorokin could be a star in net. I love Anthony Beauvillier. But the old guys, sorry.
Brian P said, I'd like to see Parise Clutterbuck because his contract is up. Chara and Green, Martin, awful. Leo out all next year.
I think that some of the
they're
guys
all out next year. Yeah. So talking about those players who are out next year, you got Zach Parise, Cal Clutterbuck, Zdeno Chara, Andy Green, Matt Martin. Oh, Matt Martin's awful, but Leo is out. All those players are out next year.
I don't know what the free agency group looks like next year. But we have a lot of guys we can clear out and bring somebody in, but I just don't know what I haven't even looked at the free agency group for next year.
It's not here's the thing too, it's not even worth looking into because there's a lot that could still happen regarding who signs an additional contract. I mean, like, you look at some of the top names, okay, unrestricted free agents technically that are right now on the market. Evgeny Malkin would be an unrestricted free agent next year, PK Subban, you got, Claude
Don't want
Giroux,
him.
Kessel, Chris Letang, Marc-Andre Fleury. There's a lot of them, but it's really, really, really early yet, so
Yeah, I mean, some guys are going to cross off the list, but I mean, I'd love to see the Islanders just get a little fresh blood in here. That's what I'd like to see happen. They certainly will have. They should have some money at the end of the season. They really should.
yeah, I would agree. We're going to have something. So, I mean, like, hey, Ricard Raquel, there's a lot of free agents that will be out there, but again, it's way too early to start looking, in my opinion. Alexander said, TJ Grump, we all know Cizikas is not going anywhere, unfortunately. Who would you replace Martin and Cizikas with, or Martin and maybe Clutterbuck with?
I honestly, you can pick up fourth line players anywhere. I don't think there's there's any grinder, any grinder. You like I said, free agent. Look at Eric Holla, right? 2 years, 2.1 million, whatever it was. You can do something like that if you insist on having veterans fill those roles. I
You
don't
have
have a problem with that.
you love Eric Holla, don't you, Grump?
Well, I'm just drawing him as a comparison where fourth liners shouldn't cost a whole lot of money. I mean, they have played fourth line minutes for a reason. I don't want my team to have the identity of the fourth line. I want my first line to be the identity of the team. High scoring, high flying goal scorers, not grinders.
No. It's the mentality and the mantra that they take that, hey, they're a tough team. They're going to give you hell on every single line, can face off against any line of the opponent. That's the mantra, Grumpy. That's the fourth line mantra. Don't confuse it.
Whatever. Like I said, but a fourth line, they're just guys. Unfortunately, I don't think there's anybody in our system who can really fill those roles because we're a team just with veterans. So we are. Leo Komarov, he's done at the end of this year. Maybe they want to bring him back on the cheap. Who knows? Martin's going to be back next year. That's for certain.
Martin's
The only guy you're going to lose is Clutterbuck.
Years on his contract. But again, it's easier to buy him out if they ever wanted to. Not saying they would, but they're not bringing Leo Komarov back.
Would it surprise you? Seriously, would it surprise you if they signed Clutterbuck for a 2-year deal?
Oh, Jesus. Okay, here's the thing. It wouldn't surprise me because, okay, that means Matt Martin has an additional 2 years on his contract, and we can keep the fourth line together for an additional 2 years, right? But I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Fourth liners don't play until they're 33, 34, 35 years old, or they shouldn't.
Everybody plays to the 33, 34, 35 on the Islanders. Doesn't matter what position you play.
Al Clutterbuck, think about this, is going to be 34 years old in November. He's going to be 34 years old this year. That means that if you were to sign him for an additional 2 years, he's going to be playing when he's 34 to 35 and then 35 to 36 years old as a fourth line right winger. I'm sorry.
That's Casey Cizikas, right? That's Casey Cizikas in a few years.
I wasn't a fan of Casey doing that either. I wouldn't be a fan of them re-signing Cal Clutterbuck. It would not shock me, but they should not do that. And I think they won't do that.
We'll see. I just think that if they have a chance, they're going to sign their own guys back. Cheaper deals, perhaps, but I see that happening.
Now, the funny thing is you could start off and let's just play this down the line. I know this is odd for us to be talking about 3 games of the season. Let's look at this offseason. Let's think about if it was this offseason, right? Cal Clutterbuck were to be an unrestricted free agent and they were to go ahead and sign him back, right? You would have everybody in the masses saying, oh, no, we don't need to bring Cal Clutterbuck back. And if they brought Cal Clutterbuck back, they'd be finding every excuse and ideology to twist their words and say, oh, no, I'm happy we're bringing Cal Clutterbuck back. We're reuniting and keeping the best fourth line in hockey together for an additional 2 years. This is a great win by Lou Lamoriello. That's how they would spin that.
Yeah, because everything Lou does is great. Everything.
Hey, adding an additional, adding our right wing back that's 34, going to be 35 years old this year. That's a great idea for a 2-year contract. Yikes.
We lost Matt Barzal to free agency. Well, that's okay. That's better for the team because he didn't fit stylistically. And now we can add some more Ham and Egger, third and fourth liners. We can keep the rest of the team together.
Oh, there you go. That's how they'd spin it.
Mm-hmm.
BP said it happened last year with Bellows. Last year, 3 goals in 4 games, and it was replaced by fifth line stiff Leo Komarov.
Right, and that was my whole thing. We had you could have given Bellows a 20-game audition, or 25 game audition to find out really if he could do the job. This way, you know what? If he didn't produce over 25 games, but just say, hey, you're our guy for the rest of the season, whatever, or the regular season, whatever. And if he produced, then you know you have some. Then you didn't have to go out and get Parise. You had somebody who could fill in, or you could move somebody else because you knew the Kiefer Bellows already played. In the other hand, if he couldn't hack it at all, well, okay, it's time to move on from him, and you need to get a replacement. But when you just give a guy spot starts, you never really know what he can do long term. It's just short-sighted and foolish. But it's something that Barry does with regularity with young players. He did it in Washington. He did it in Nashville. Guys shine when they go other places because Barry never gave them a shot. And they go somewhere else, and all of a sudden, they score 20, 25 goals a year. That's on him.
What a film saying, I've decided I'm going to buy a hamster, name it Bailey, and let my dog chase it around the house.
Oh, wonderful. Kind of masochistic, but wonderful stuff.
What a film said. I really hope Josh Bailey doesn't listen to the podcast. If he does, we're rooting for you, Josh. Just get off the power play, please.
Yeah, I'm sure he does not listen.
Yeah, if I'm a betting man, I don't think Josh Bailey's tuning in. BP, Brian P saying, Phil is a good sport. That's for certain he is.
He is. Phil's a cool guy. Phil's a cool guy.
For certain he is. Andrew L. said, Tarasenko might be off to a slow start, but if he continues that, I say we go after him. All the guy needs is a change of scenery to kickstart the engine. He said, I'm willing to gamble on a guy like that.
Yeah, I was willing to gamble on him too. He seemed like he was excited playing for St. Louis the other night. I watched him. I was looking for body language and, how he was interacting with teammates, and he looked happy as hell. Like I said, he said he wanted to go. He just wants to play. And if they want to do it, I think if they do crappy, maybe he'll want to leave. But, he looked extremely happy playing. And he was shooting the puck. Didn't look like that shoulder was giving a problem the period and a half that I saw him play.
Absolutely grumpy. Paul C said it should be Wallstrom on the first line, Bellows on the third line.
I could live with that. I just feel like Pajot was wasted on the third line.
I get what you're saying. Brandon Frey, I advise you listen to the first 5-10 minutes of the show. We talked about Kiefer Bellows. Yeah, he looked awful last night. Yeah, we definitely did cover that ad nauseum. Mikey M saying, so just say Bailey shouldn't play on the power play, which I agree with. He's not a bad player, and he can move. He can have more great games and back check and stats and splits that they win and against their rival games.
To me, Josh Bailey.
He said, I can't believe I'm defending Bailey like this. I'm not a fan.
I have always felt that Josh Bailey would be a good third line player. That's what he is. I feel he's a third line player. And he'd be a good third line player. And he's not a bad type of guy to have on a team. He's really not. But it's how he gets elevated. It always baffles me how somehow he'll find his way to playing on the first line. He's not a first line player. He's not even a second line player. On a good team, he's a third line player. I mean, but the fans who just defend him for just being mediocre and average, it makes me combustible and angry. Sorry.
Brandon Frey saying Bellows needs to go. We talked about it again. The performance, we came up and said he did not perform well. We came in and said this was an opportunity, a chance for him to grab by the horns, and showed a less than stellar performance. Had a bad night last night. We talked about it. We hit all the points earlier on. I'm not saying Bellows needs to go, man. One game,
game, and he needs to go.
And he looked bad. He looked bad last night. We talked about it. Then not good.
Yeah, without a doubt. And guess what? He played 13 minutes last night. Gone. Get rid of him. He didn't play well last night. He did not. But, geez, okay, that's all it takes. How is Josh Bailey still in the team? He won 37 freaking games without scoring a goal. 37. And somehow he gets a contract extension because of that.
Back in the day. Ivo P said, do the Sabres stay hot?
No.
I don't think so. I think they're little.
Good for them. I'm glad they're winning some games. I mean, gosh. Don't you feel bad for that fan base? I have a lot of friends who are Buffalo fans, and I feel, it's tough being a Sabres fan. It really is.
That it is. Alexander said eventually Wallstrom will go to the top line by the time the season ends.
I hope so, but I don't think so.
Neither do I. I think they're happy with him playing the third line, maybe additional power play minutes. So it ends up him being like playing 14 maybe minutes a night, and then the next season he's ready to jump up to the first line. But they're going to
I'll
keep
tell
him
you,
on the third line all season.
I'll tell you what, he should be on the first power play unit though, without a doubt.
That's for certain. He's got the best shot on the team.
Him and Barzell on the power play. I want to see that. Then you get to see what type of chemistry they have, right? Okay, if you want to see what they have, play them on the power play. And maybe, if they translate where they have really good chemistry, then that shows that you can elevate him and send Anders Lee down the lineup. I have no problem with that.
Frank K said, I wish Soderstrom, a line of Soderstrom he's talking about, would have worked out because he would have really complimented Sorokin well. He had a lot of talent. Sadly, his disability and injuries hindered him. Yeah, he had, I think it's now it's no longer Asperger's. It's called, I think, autism or something on the autism scale. So I thought he had Asperger's, but then
Asperger's is a form of autism.
So they don't call it Asperger's anymore. I'm trying to remember. I think Paige used to tell me they call it now. It's just autism. It's level on this autism scale, but it used to be called Asperger's. But he was fantastic, right? He broke the Swedish Elite League record for the highest save percentage and lowest goals against average. Broke Henrik Lundqvist's save percentage and goals against average there in the Swedish Elite League. Unbelievable. And he got injured. He had those knee injuries and the groin and his shoulder. He just never really played.
It was the shoulder injuries that did him in. And that's just the way it is, right?
I was a huge supporter of Linus Soderstrom. I mean, hell, broke the Kings record, right? Broke Henrik Lundqvist's record, save percentage and goals against average in the Swedish Elite League.
Okay, it's the Swedish Elite League for a reason.
Gosh, come on. Give the man some credit.
I'm just saying it's the injuries. The injuries got him. That's what it was. It wasn't anything but the injuries.
Yeah. And then Brandon Frey said Matt Martin was good last night, crying face. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, again, he's still coming back off the injury. I wasn't all that impressed with what he did, but he's still coming off the injury.
Yeah,
absolutely. Mikey M said it's one game for Bellows. Give him a few more, and let him get to talking from Trotz and the staff and see how he responds.
That's not going to happen. If they were going to do that, they would have done that last year when Lee went out. That's not happening here. The only reason he played is because Anders Lee was out last night. That's the only reason that he played. And Lee, I'm sure, will be back tomorrow night. Even with Montezuma's revenge or whatever he had going on, he'll be back tomorrow, and Bellows will be back to riding the bench, sitting up in the press box.
B-Cut says no Facebook group supports TJ and the Grillpill Man like Islanders misery rated R. That's a fact.
That's true. There's some of those other fly-by-night Facebook groups and their little goof leaders who do not support us.
Oh,
because they all think they're getting jobs with the Islanders.
I'm
scared, running scared.
Brandon Frey, and then BP said that's facts. Brandon Frey said, "Here goes Grumpy with Eric Holla again."
He didn't use the word again. Okay, you added that.
I will add again. Here goes Grumpy with Eric Holla. It's good to say again because
all I did with Eric Holla was just to say that you can get guys like that on the cheap for your fourth line replacements. That's all I meant.
Love Eric Holla.
I don't love Eric Holla. I like the contract he signed. He's better than Casey. But Casey's contract, the numbers wasn't bad. It was the term that was horrific. This guy signed a 2-year deal, and he's younger, and he only got 2 years from Boston. Casey gets, like I said, think about it, 10 years worth of contracts for a fourth-line player. 2 mega deals he gets. Incredible.
For a fourth line relative to it, yeah. Alexander said, hey, Grumpy, how do you like the new pitcher? Hey, Josh, you suck.
Look at who's on there. Oh.
Brocknell. Oh, that's Anders Lee. Anders Lee and Anders Lee.
Yeah, I can't see it. Something says they suck, so I kind of like it now. I was going like into some type of tremors. I see Average and Bailey over there. I'm like, buh.
DJ Monaco says Islanders. That's correct. Let's go Islanders.
It's a little anime picture. I like that.
And then Brandon Frey said, I hope we bring Clutterbuck back on a 2-year deal. He plays fine on the fourth line.
I could see that happening.
Oh, see, like that's where I have the issue, right? we're planning on bringing back Kyle Clutterbuck on a 2-year deal, unless he's taking league vet minimum. I'm not interested. The guy, and here's the thing: I really, honestly think he might retire. He considered retiring again. They wrote about it in the article after the COVID bubble. He considered retiring because he has no feeling. I think it's his right hand or his left hand, and his pinky and his ring finger. No feeling at all in those fingers. He's 30. He'll be 34 years old. And I don't know if he wants to take another contract playing until he's 36 years old. I'm not sure we should want. You talk about old. You talk about an old fourth line. Jeez, Louise.
Just fit in with the rest of the team. I don't see what the problem with that is.
Manny Mass said, who would you want as a coach instead of Barry Trotz? The only person, like if you're putting together a Christmas list, you'd want as a coach, maybe Joe Quenneville. I don't think there's many coaches out there better than Barry Trotz. As much as we nitpick items in Barry Trotz, I don't think there's many coaches out there better than he is. I think maybe Joe Quenneville is the only better coach that I can pinpoint and say he's a better coach in the NHL. And again, your top 5 coaching NHL, you're not complaining, right? We love the fact that he's here, but we nitpicking because we see every single little bit and we say nobody's infallible.
Right. To me, Quenneville is the one guy I would take over him. And his thing, I like Cooper too. I know TJ doesn't like him, but John Cooper's a hell of a coach too.
Let's see what John Cooper would do if we didn't have an all-star cast-studded team. That's all.
Well, you know what? I guess his general manager,
because all the Hall of Famers still are returning on his team.
I guess his general manager knows what he's doing. If he can amass a team that has a bunch of Hall of Famers on it, so you're trying to say that Lou should go?
Stevie Y did a hell of a job assembling and drafting that team. You're right. Stevie Y assembled that team.
Yeah, and Breezeball did a nice job getting the final pieces of the puzzle. I mean, you can't sell him wrong.
I'm not giving him credit. I'm giving Stevie Y all the credit in the world. Think about how he completely hoodwinked the Montreal Canadiens into taking Jonathan Drouin for for Sergachev. I mean, Sergachev hasn't ascended there yet, but Sergachev's going to be one of those guys who is a solid top 4 defenseman, and you got him for a bust of a draft pick in Jonathan Drouin. Oh, come on. Stevie Y assembled that team. Maybe he didn't have the grit pieces that were needed to win all the way, but he assembled the team. The most important portions of that team, Stevie Y assembled, and he's doing the same thing in Detroit. What did I tell you? Watch out for Detroit. Maybe not this year. Next year, they're making the playoffs. No doubt in my mind. Next year, they're a playoff contender in that very tough Atlantic division.
They're 2-0-1 this year. They're on their way.
Detroit Red Wings are going to be winning 70 games with 12 overtime losses. That's my prediction. Bold predictions. Detroit Red Wings are going to lose 1 game all year long.
We'll see.
What a film said. I'm glad Mikey is sticking up for Bailey. I have to agree with him a bit. Bailey is good in the playoffs, and he might surprise us.
I'm not surprised. I'd be surprised if he shot the puck. That would surprise me.
Louis C. said, hey, Grumpy, my dog's a big teddy bear. He's a bull mastiff. He's about 150 pounds and would love to chase Josh Bailey off the power play.
Yeah. I mean, he looks big. I mean, that dog looks big. He looks like he could suffocate him right there. Knocking his glasses off. I think he's wearing glasses, right?
I think, yeah, he's wearing glasses.
Yeah, well, it looks like that dog is eating those glasses for dinner. He's like using it to floss his teeth with those glasses.
D-Cut said, Grumpy's Juice T-shirt is a must. The ETA on that your time is 2025.
TJ time.
Oh, my goodness.
Actually, we were on the pod. TJ said, be ready at 7 o'clock Eastern today. We're going to go over some of these shirt things. So you want to know what time that happened?
What time, Grump?
7:40.
Bullshit. Okay. That's bullshit. It was 7:20. I was maybe 20 minutes late. I said that. That's come on. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Then we went till 8 o'clock, and then it took him who knows how long before we started the show.
That is the biggest load of. Out of all the things I've heard you say tonight, Grumpy, like you talking about how Josh Bailey is the worst player to ever tie his skates. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. How Simon Holmstrom shouldn't even be checking vaccine cards at the beginning of the Islanders game. Frank Hayes said, oh, you don't even think you could hold the pencil up to check a vaccine card, Grumpy? I'll tell you one thing. That was the biggest line of BS. It was 7:20. We were on the dot. Don't do that. Don't do that to me, Grumpy. Don't do that.
It was 7:20 TJ time, which is 7:40.
Shit. C said, keep Sasikas, keep our centers. We are strong up the middle. Let's keep it that way. That's for certain. Hey, this is the strongest we've had of center depth. Grumpy, when's the last time you'd say we've had 4 centers as strong as that we have currently had? I'm not sure. I mean, what, Grumpy? At least 20 plus years?
Yeah. It's been long. We're strong up the middle. You have to be.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? I mean, you have to be strong up the middle. That's any sport, right? Baseball, football, anything, basketball. You want to strong up the middle.
Alexander said, for the last time, Bellows needs to play more. The more the kid plays, the better he gets. Guess people would rather have old bricks on this team.
A lot of people do. They don't. One game he plays, he didn't score a few goals, send him down. Where half our team doesn't score for a whole year, that's okay. They continue playing.
What a film said, you got to root for the underdog, and I have his jersey. Talk about Josh Bailey.
He's not an underdog anymore. I'm sorry. He's not an underdog anymore.
Joe Francis saying Brandon needs to go. Let's go, Brandon. I think.
Oh, no. You know what that is, right?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I had no idea what it was for the longest of time, and I just heard people chanting "Let's go, Brandon." I had no idea it had something to do with some NASCAR. I'm like, where the hell is this even coming from? It's a nice way to say "F you, Joe Biden." I was like, oh,
they misunderstood it on the broadcast,
yeah.
on the NASCAR broadcast. So now everyone's doing it.
Yeah, well, it's better than them saying "F you, Joe Biden." I'd rather them say something like "Let's go, Brandon." It's a nice way. I don't want to hear anybody saying "F you." I didn't like people saying "F you, Trump." I don't like people saying "F you, Joe Biden." Because here's the thing, right? In the end, what do we really want? We've got the president. You want him to be as good as possible, because if he's not, it negatively impacts us, the people. So you root for anybody who's the president. You root for him, because if they don't do well, that's bad for us. I root for whoever's in line. Whatever political affiliation aside, you need to root for the person up there. You need to get behind them, because if they do a poor job, it negatively impacts us. Sorry, Grump. What can I say? I root for whoever's in charge everywhere.
Let's go, Brandon.
Oh, stop.
Just go. I don't want to talk politics. Just go. Next comment.
And then Brandon Frey said Wallstrom's on pace for an 82 goals this season. Just saying.
There you go. There you go.
Just saying. Absolutely. And then, Frank was saying autism spectrum disorder. Is he saying? And Alexander saying my son's got Asperger's. It's on the autism spectrum disorder. And then what a film said, TJ, you should find that video of Wallstrom's crazy goal when he was a kid. He picks up the puck on his stick and throws it around the net. It's crazy. I remember that one. I had no idea. I remember seeing that years ago when it first happened. I had no idea that was actually Oliver Wahlstrom, years removed when he was drafted. I'm like, holy crap, that is Oliver Wahlstrom. No way.
I remember seeing that on the year he was drafted. That was one of the highlights from when he was drafted.
I remember I had no idea that was actually him though, until we saw it. So I'll pull up that goal, Grumpy. So give me a second here.
Yeah.
Mike Yam saying at Brandon Frey, yeah, I know for this season he wasn't expected to play. Give him even a small chance though this season. Talking about Kiefer Bellows.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I'll pull this up here.
What are you playing? Halloween music over there?
Ooh, hey, it's near Halloween. It's near Halloween. What can I say, grumpy old man? I'll limit. Guess what? I'll lower the volume. This is here we go, Grumpy.
Bruins hockey rules. 9-year-old.
Just remember, it happened. It happened at the Bruins arena. Here it is.
There's our boy. Skates he skates just like he does now.
Not a great skater.
Not so great.
Whoa! I always love that. I mean, 9 years old. Like some kids, they say, hey, they knew this kid was predestined to be, in the league. I mean, I love
Goalie boy went, what the hell?
It's in the back of that. What the hell is this he did?
What's goalie boy? It's like, what? What is that?
What is this? It's cheating. What is he doing on me? Right? Here's the thing, too. You'll look at that like when his dad goes on, he's like, hey, I didn't make the save. His dad's like, damn, kid, there's nothing you can do about that one. This is just a hell of a shot.
I just want to say, you look at goalie boy, he's posterized at 9 years old. Think about that.
Oh, man. Oh, goodness gracious.
It looked like he had good form, not a whole lot of movement from goalie boy, but it's like, what the hell?
Good gracious almighty, Grumpy. Insane, that is for certain. Alexander said, it just says Josh Bailey, even Seattle thinks you suck. They took Eberle.
There you go.
Even Seattle thinks
perfect.
Paulo, he said, bring up Salo. We have too many defensemen. That can't skate or as it is, have cement blocks to their feet.
True.
Alexander saying Druin's a very good player. I'd rather have him over Anders Lee.
I wouldn't. I don't think that Drouin is. I don't know. First of all, he'd never play for this team. Never. Barry would never play him.
Oh my God. D-Cut said Tristan Jarry and that for that. I
Oh,
love it, D-Cut. I
man,
love
I
it.
love
Oh, man.
D-Cut. He's
I love it.
hilarious.
I love it.
He's
Manny
hilarious.
Mass said Grump Flyers beat Bruins 6-3 tonight. Your thoughts, good sir.
Two teams I hate the most, but I hate the Flyers even more. So it's even more painful. It worries me that the Flyers are seemingly scoring at will. I think that was the Bruins' second game. I despise the Flyers, but I'm worried about them. I tell you what, if the Flyers are contending for a playoff spot, we're in trouble. We're in trouble because Carolina, Pittsburgh, Washington, they're all going to be up there contending for a playoff spot. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Mikey M says chemistry matters. The fourth line has it. A look at low price Matt Molson playing with JT as consistently had 30 goals and was traded for at a high price there for Vanek, who had the same points and didn't play as well.
He put up good. Vanek put up good numbers for the half year he played with us. Here's the thing, Matt Molson. What did he do when he went anywhere but playing for the Islanders and JT? Nothing, because he was a product of John Tavares. Kyle Okposo was a product of John Tavares. P.A. Parento was a product of John Tavares. Thomas Vanek was a good player before he got here, and I thought he put up pretty good numbers when he was here.
Yeah, just to go ahead and pull that up, Thomas Vanek in the 47 games he played with us had 17 goals, 27 assists, so he had 44 points in 47 games, and he was he was a +4 that season.
Yeah, but he put up good numbers.
He was +4.
Yeah, he could play. I mean, he could play. It's just, Snow should have. Man, before you make that deal, you should have some type of inkling if you could sign him. If not, you try to move him earlier than they did.
Man, that always blows my mind. He always wanted to go back to Minnesota, and we did that. Oh, Jesus, I know. Oh, that's don't get me started on that. Mikey M also said Vanek is a much better player, but didn't play as good as Molson. Chemistry matters. I don't know. I mean, I think he played a little better than Matt Molson did. Matt Molson was a guy who was always a product of John Tavares, though.
Yeah, Vanek was a good player. He was better than Matt Molson.
Manny Mass said Vanek looked way out of shape for us.
Well, I don't know.
Alexander, we traded for Vanek at the beginning of the season, and then you want to talk about great asset management. We traded for him at the beginning of the season, gave up, what was it, a first round and a second round pick and Matt Molson, and we wound up getting back in return Vanek, who we then later traded at the trade deadline for, was it a third or second round pick? Sebastian Kohlberg, I believe.
Yeah, and a second round pick.
Geez.
Not good asset. Here's the thing. When they realized they couldn't sign him, they should have moved him well before the deadline.
You should have figured to ask him beforehand, hey, are you planning on, are you up, where are you thinking about going as a free agent? You already have your mind made up. We would like to bring you in here long term. Ask him a few questions like that, because the guy had his mind freaking made up before he even was traded here. So it made me think, I'm like, how incompetent of the GM staff there in Garth Snow at that time period. Yikes, double yikes, triple yikes.
Yes.
Oh man, that's for certain. Got a comment here. What a film said, another great podcast, guys. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. D-Cut also saying, fun show, guys. See you Saturday after the game. After a win. After a win.
Yeah.
See you Saturday after a win. I think we're going to also beat the Arizona Coyotes. I expect a victory. I expect crazy. I expect us to win tomorrow against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And if we don't win, maybe an overtime loss, and I expect a win against Arizona.
That's what I'm hoping to. At least out of these next two games, 3 points. And as long as we're trending in the right direction stylistically, I'll be happy. Points matter, of course, but can we right the ship? That's the whole thing. And I thought we started doing that a little bit, the tail end of the second and the third period. But it was Chicago. So just got to worry about the better teams in the league.
Joe Francis said, if I remember correctly, Snow offered Vanek, a huge contract, a whopper contract. He declined it. Thank goodness.
That's true. He did. He wanted to go to Minnesota, and he was a free agent at the end of the year.
And then Alexander saying, yeah, so it didn't really hurt us that much. I mean, yeah, just the fact that we didn't sign Vanek, I guess, was okay. But I mean, like, you just gave up so much to bring him in for that short, for like, less than 50 games. Andrew Ellis said, I want Nikolai Ehlers. I've been saying this for a few seasons now.
Yeah, I don't think he fits what Barry Trotz wants to do, though. And I like Nikolai Ehlers. I really do.
Yeah. Oh, Manny Mass said Chicago sucks. They kicked our ass and they lost 4-1. I wouldn't say they kicked our ass. They had some chances, but hey, goaltending, and we stood up and we played well. I mean, Ilya Sorokin stood on his head.
They outplayed us. They did. But they right now are a weak, they're a fragile team, if you know what I mean. And as soon as that second goal was it, that was it. They, hey, it's like, we've seen this movie before. Let's leave the theater now. And that's pretty much what they did.
Alexander said he didn't mind staying. It's just that he didn't want to play at Barclays. And he said that year JT got hurt in the Olympics and that killed us. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Alexander also said, you guys think it's time for Flower. Not sure what that means.
Fowler, maybe. I don't know.
Cam Fowler?
Maybe.
That being said, Grumpy, hey, we're here at the end of today's podcast. What do you have to say before we wrap things up, Grump?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
And thank you, Grumpy Old Man, for being a part of the podcast. Thank you guys here for listening and tuning in. Again, this podcast wouldn't be anything without the support and the interaction that we have with you. I mean, you guys who listen to this podcast, who listen live, who listen on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or listen to the podcast even in post, you're the lifeblood of what Grumpy and I love to talk about the Islanders. There's no doubt about it. And as we're getting this season started, again, I just want to always make sure we impress upon how important you guys are to us. Again, sorry about getting late out there with the logos and the designs that we're going to be putting out. Hopefully, again, they're going to look up to par and they're going to be good quality content. It's going to be good quality for you guys too at a very, very cheap and reasonable price. But thank you again so much, guys, for tuning in as always. And thank you, Grumpy Old Man. I do always appreciate you being here with us.
My pleasure.
Absolutely, guys. Well, have a great afternoon. Remember, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, and make sure to check out and link in the description below the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man Show. That is occurring tomorrow, Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and as well as Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is in the link description below. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great evening. Thank you again, Grumpy.